And welcome back on campus on New Mexico State. Miners, Aggies on the way. Jay, let's take a look at our impact players in this one.
Yeah, you know, when you've got a game like this, you want your guys to step up. It starts when you look at New Mexico State and UTEP right there. Hernandez, the All-American guard. You're going to see him featured a lot, pulling out NFL prospect. Jones at the linebacker spot. He's going to be very active today. Going to have to get in a lot of tackles to help that defense out. Rogers has been phenomenal for this team the first 3 games, completing almost like 70% of his passes. And Harrington on the defensive side, getting everybody lined up. This is a rivalry game. These seniors want to make sure they get that final win going out.
These two schools no strangers to each other. Let's take a look at the series history. It dates back quite a while, and as of late, Jay, it's been all in favor of UTEP.
It definitely has been. They've won the last 8 times that they played them. You got to think about it this way. These seniors have never lost to New Mexico State, while the seniors of New Mexico State have never beaten them. So this is a serious bragging rights when you look at what's happening. And especially if New Mexico State can win today, this will be the first sweep of New Mexico and UTEP since 2002.
And let's take a look at how things have begun so far this year for both of these teams. Between UTEP and New Mexico State, the numbers not good for the Miners. There's a reason they're 0-3.
And you're looking at it right there. The offense has been stagnant, which has left the defense out there. The defense is young, so they've had a lot of mental mistakes. When you look at New Mexico State, though, you're looking at a team that has grown together for the past 4 years. And this is why Tyler Rogers has been able to do what he's able to do. He understands the offense, spreads that ball around. Between him and Larry Rose, they get a lot of production. And look out for Jaleel Scott, number 16, their big 6'6" receiver. You're going to see him getting a lot of touches in the red zone today.
He's a talented player to watch. As we get set for the opening kick, it'll be UTEP to kick this one away. Brady Viles, the sophomore, and waiting back deep, Jonathan Boone and Isaiah Lottie for the Aggies. Large crowd expected, still filing in this one. Will sail over the head of the intended recipient and out of play. And now we'll get our first look here at the New Mexico State offense.
It's one of those things. New Mexico State likes to go fast and come out fast. Doug Martin right there wants his guys hot and ready to go. Very pumped about this game and very important. He told us, he's like, you know what? Last week we didn't get the amount of plays we'd like to get in. This week I want to make sure we get our 80 plus. Yeah,
he said if we don't get to 80 plays, very hard to be successful. Determined to make that happen here. They were close last week, about 62, in a loss to Troy. As we get set here for the first down opportunity for the Aggies, Tyler Rogers, the quarterback. A real standout for this New Mexico State team. We go run to start things off. And a handoff there as expected to Larry Rose III. We touched on Rogers. Here's what he has done from Peoria, Arizona. Good size. Coach is talking about a guy that has started to put himself in that position for maybe some NFL talk as you look at some of his pass yards and what he's done from a guy who was developing to now a mainstay here at the quarterback position. Here's a wide receiver screen. That's a short gain controlled there by Jonathan Boone.
Yeah, Tyler Rogers, the biggest thing that stands out and watch him over the past couple of years is the accuracies. 66.7%. If you can complete that many passes as many times as they throw and as quickly as they like to go, that's attention to detail. And you see right there, touchdown to interceptions. That is huge. When you can do that, you win a lot of games.
So quickly a third down here for the Aggies, a team that is happy to pass the football. He goes handoff instead to Rose, and he is met quickly. And then surging forward for a couple more, but not before a whole host of Miners drive him backwards. A gang tackle there. Nick Needham leading the charge for the Miners.
The defense of UTEP stepping up against that U of A offense last week. This defense played well going into the second quarter, and then they had a lot of mental mistakes. You can see right here, just a simple draw play, hat on a hat, and guys have to win their battles. Larry Rose using his strength, but you can see the wrap up there, especially by Dante LaViolet stepping in there, finishing up the Mike linebacker.
So quickly a punt opportunity here for New Mexico State. This will be Terry Juniel to take it. And he is ripped down from behind. Got a couple of yards and then a quick tackle from New Mexico State. 49-yard punt, only a 2-yard return as Dylan Parsi came over for the stop.
Definitely came over, and that looked a lot more violent than what it was. But this is the energy that guys play with when you know it's a rivalry game and you've never beaten the team your whole time you're there. You really like to get after it.
Looking at the quarterback now for UTEP, and some questions as to who would start. Ryan Metz missing last week He has a separated non-throwing shoulder, but when he is out there, he is a leader on this Miner offense. 21 touchdown passes in just 19 games played, and a guy that has worked his way up from a gray shirt, a red shirt, to now the starter. And he'll go play action and pass. Metz looking downtown. Throw, and he's got a man downfield, and that is incomplete. Double coverage there. Intended for Tyler Batson, who was looking for a flag, to no avail.
Well, we talked about this offense having a little problem with moving the ball and being a bit stagnant. Take a shot early. I like the call because when you do this with a quarterback that's coming back off an injury, he didn't play last week. When you can step back on the field, you throw a bomb like that, now you loosen up the defense and expect them to come back with running the ball inside, try to eat up some clock, eat up some time, eat up some space. But by passing first, deep like they did, that's going to be a big play to help this offense get itself going.
And an excellent misdirection here as we'll get a stoppage momentarily. Looks like they have to reset the play clock here.
6 seconds. 13:06.
And they'll adjust the game clock as well back to 13:06. And there is head coach Sean Kugler for UTEP. And it's interesting they go pass first, right? Because they told us all week long we were going to run the football and run it some more. They start with the pass.
And they still can do it, but that's the beauty of it. Teams know what you can do. New Mexico State's expecting them to run the ball because they struggle with it, but that's what they love to do, bread and butter. Start with the pass, loosen them up, now set a pass formation and run the ball.
Again, looking to pass, swings it out near side, connecting there, and able to pick up a couple. He finds Keenan Foster.
We're going to see a lot of bubble, quick screens. Both these offenses are similar in the way that they run it, with the quick game, trying to get the ball into playmakers' hands so that they can get out in space and do some things. That is just an extension of a run. Think of a running back flare when you see those types of plays.
New Mexico State found themselves on third down very quickly. So do the Miners. Third down, 7 to go. Opening moments here, first quarter. Metz in the gun. 4 wide receivers. Goes delayed handoff, and they're not going to get enough yardage here. Coming over, Dalton Harrington there to stop the attempt by Quadrez Wadley.
That was a delayed draw, trying to catch that defense dropping back. But New Mexico State does like to bring pressure, and they bring it from man, they bring it from zone, and so sometimes this offensive line is not sure where it's coming from. Great play call by the defense to get them off the field.
Wadley, just a sophomore, getting an opportunity here early. Now the Miners will have to punt. Larry Rose back to return this one off the foot of Alan Luna. That one spinning sideways, and New Mexico State will let this one fall to the turf inside the 20. So a couple of quick 3-and-outs on both sides of the football, and now it'll be New Mexico State returning for their next offensive opportunity. Scoreless here. Fans still filing in. Battle of I-10. Scoreless at the start. Welcome back to Las Cruces, New Mexico. New Mexico State and UTEP annual rivalry matchup. And for New Mexico State, a guy they're going to lean on in this rivalry, Larry Rose III, a guy, Jay, that is happy to be back in the lineup. He missed all of last year after hernia surgery. When he is healthy and out there, he is huge.
He's one of those players that he can take it the distance, but he also can grind it out if you need to. Just an all-around back, catches the ball well out of the backfield. That's why the NFL is looking at this kid. He's definitely somebody who can play on Sundays.
Second offensive possession now. Quick to throw. Rogers slings it out far side and nothing there. Stumbling to the turf was O.J. Clark.
O.J. wanted to get a little bit more. You can see Tyler Rogers getting that ball out quickly. When you have speed guys like O.J. Clark, 5'7", 163, get them in space, they like to make defenders miss and get those positive yards. That's why they're averaging over 400 yards a game.
Coach Doug Martin likes to speed things up. Doesn't mind a no huddle, a nice spread offense, and give opportunities for Tyler Rogers to shine. He'll throw here on second down, slings it out now near side. That's a completion to the 25-30, and still churning down the sideline. It's Larry Rose III, and he is into Miner territory. Justin Rogers covering.
What a release and block. And you see right there, he's getting help by Isaiah Lottie staying on his block. And then Greg Hogan gives him the opportunity to bounce it outside. You see the vision, you see the speed, catches it soft with his hands, does not waste any time getting north and south.
Tiptoeing down that sideline, a big gain. for New Mexico State and setting up a first down. They'll spot it actually still in Aggie territory. Throwing again now deep downfield, intercepted, picked off again. Justin Rogers makes the tackle to stop Rose and now delivers the pick.
That is a play that it come back to bite you when you're moving the ball the way that they like to play. Tyler Rogers has the receiver open, but he underthrows it behind. The DB, Justin Rogers, does a great job of cutting in front. But you can see right there as the ball is thrown, the receiver has a step, but it's thrown behind. So Isaiah Lottie doesn't even have a chance. He probably should have helped his quarterback out, but being that it was thrown behind, it made it a bit tough.
Yeah, Lottie in the right spot with that one coming over the top, but to your point, underthrown. And now quickly, UTEP back on offense. Ryan Metz, the El Paso native. And he'll go handoff. They go up the gut for a couple. Wadley there again on the carry. This is a guy that was not on the 2 deep, not even maybe the 3 deep coming into this one, Jay, and here he is getting some carries early.
Well, you think about it. They have a lot of youth there. Walter Don Jr., who we featured at the beginning, he gets the most bulk of the carry. He's 5'6", 175. Quadrice Wadley comes in at 6'1", 190, but he's a junior. So it gives him a little bit more maturity there. But you're going to see both these backs being used Walter-like because having somebody that's 5'6", running behind, especially Will Hernandez, their All-American left guard, hard to pick somebody like that up.
Lots of people would love to run behind Will Hernandez. He can clear some space. Second down now, 8 to go. Over the middle, incomplete. That one skimmed off the turf. They intended for David Lucero.
That's a throw Met's kind of ill-advised. It's a good thing it hit the ground. You throw in that much traffic, not too many good can come in. Even if your receiver catches it, he might take a hit that may dislodge and the ball floats. So want to protect that ball. This is crucial. You would like to at least get a third down conversion, get a turnover, first turnover of the game. You don't want to turn to a 3 and out and give them the ball back. You want to make them pay. You want to at least try to change the field position.
Sideline warning. Sideline warning on the Texas El Paso bench. That's their first warning.
Warning here against UTEP. A little too excited there on the sideline, encroaching towards the field.
You know, it's funny. Even back when I played, that's the number one rule you're taught: stay away from the line. But yet, coaches usually are the ones that creep up on it.
Third down here. UTEP comes in, converting 26% of their third downs so far coming into tonight. Here's Metz to throw. That is bobbled and then intercepted, taken back by the Aggies, Shaman Lomax.
What a turnover at the point in time. If the ball is caught, it looks like it would be a first down. But because it went through, because of the delay, trying to get the ball out quick, it goes through the receiver's hand and into Lomax. You can see it, backside slant, ball's thrown, receiver goes up. That's Eddie Senegal. And instead of reaching his hands out, he tries to cup it, and in doing so, the ball goes through. And Shaman Lomax is there to clean up the mess. Great reaction play. Now New Mexico State is on the positive side of the 50. See if they can make them pay for the turnover now. 2
veteran quarterbacks throwing interceptions to start each side with a turnover. Run game, the call for Rose, breaking into traffic, cuts it out to the outside, to the 20, to the 10, Rose to the goal line, diving across the pylon. Is he in? Touchdown Aggies.
What a play. You're going to see Larry Rose just patient. Watch the patience. He starts right, cuts back on that opening, and then he cuts left. Look at that setup. Knowing that DB was coming from the outside, gets the additional help from Jaleel Scott just to shade off the defenders trying to come in at the end. But this is why he's in the record books and the NFL's looking at him. That vision, that movement, that patience, that's what you need in this offense.
Point after is on the way and good. So Rose 40 yards to the house. The point after's on point, and the Aggies have started off this rivalry match at home the way they'd like. Ahead 7-0. Larry Rose the third in for 6. Well, a 40-yard run for that man, and Jay, history. Now the second all-time leading rusher in New Mexico State program history.
Well, and you think about that. They get the turnover on the positive side of the field. One play, you're able to capitalize points off turnovers, get the touchdown, the vision. This is why this guy's talked about on the next level. That vision, that ability to catch out. Look at the NFL. It's up and down with backs that not only can run the ball, but they have to be able to catch in the backfield, have great vision, patience, and that's exactly what he did, giving his team the spark. We talked about it in the open. As he goes, this team goes. And the better he plays, it really takes the pressure off that passing game because now teams have to load more guys in the box, making it easier to pass.
Rose sliding past Ron Poe James, who played back in the late 60s, early 70s. UTEP will take this one inside the 1. And not much there, tumbling down at about the 15 to the 20. Strong coverage there from New Mexico State. Keenan Foster on the return. And a helper onto the field.
I love that.
Across the 30, he's got a first down and moving the chains.
Right now, it looks like they're going for more size with Wadley, the 6', 190 junior. Just simple eye fullback. Forrest McKee getting up there, just shutting that off. Good job. You see it right there. Will Hernandez getting a chip block on the pull and getting that help for that first down.
Another run, this time not so successful. Terrell Hanks coming over to cut down that run.
Yeah, that's a big play right there. Terrell Hanks, your Sam linebacker, cutting in, making that a tackle for a loss. And this defense is much improved. And Coach Kogler kind of mentioned, he said, one of the biggest things he noticed about this team is improvement in the defense. The seniors and juniors that they've had that's come through this program, and Terrell Hicks being one of them that know how to make plays. These guys are fast, and they're playing downhill.
Well, both of these coaches, Kugler in year 5, both looking like they've been through complete rebuilds here, finally getting things to where they want to be, as that one is deflected and complete across the middle. Was trying to hook up with Batson.
That's another one of those throws that Metz needs to really think about. He tried to squeeze it in. He has a strong arm, but just because you have a strong arm, I call it the Brett Favre effect. That doesn't mean every throw is going to be a good throw. You want to help yourself out. When you try to force into windows like that, in those type of situations, you're leaving too much room for error. It's better to look at it, pump, go to your second read, go to your third read.
UTEP has struggled 0 for 2 so far on third downs, facing a third down here in the first. Metz to throw, dropping back, pops it over the top, nobody home, flag comes in. Could be a hold out there on the perimeter as Metz was trying to swing things out to the far side.
Now here's the hard part. It was a screen pass, so we have to see how the hold works out. If it's behind the line of scrimmage, it might get picked up. And that's what I think they're discussing.
Holding. Defense, number 31. 10-yard penalty. Third down.
Dalton Harrington, the Will linebacker. Sometimes when you see those screens, you have to be smart in what you're doing. You see if he goes up in there, he reads it. Now he grabs him. That's a position you don't have to do when the ball's in the air. You got to let that go. Smart play by Metz, throwing that away, knowing this guy was covered. But that just turned into now a third and short. Let's see if they can get the first down. Look at them go behind Hernandez right there. Their All-American left guard.
It wasn't the most egregious hold, but from the referees or the officials' standpoint, it looked like it was a pretty healthy grab from Harrington. Here's third down. Up the gut, they'll cross over the 40 and pick up the first down. Kevin Dove, the sophomore, gets the carry here.
And now here's the thing about it. Dove's he's even bigger. You're looking at a kid 6 foot 245. They want to emphasize the run. They know how powerful this New Mexico State offense is and the yards that they put up. They know they need to sustain some drives, put some points on the board to help their defense. We've seen an early stage of it. They're doing a lot of guard pull with Will Hernandez. So it's just a matter of New Mexico State, if they're going to match up, start to see that, read that, and then see if they can stop that run play.
Their running was a focus all week long leading into this one. 1st and 10 now on their own 42. They go handoff once again, taking a host of Aggie tacklers across the 45. Rodriguez Wadley back in the mix, and another carry, picking up a couple.
Yeah, and you're seeing right there that right behind Will Hernandez again. You're going to hear us say his same as not. This kid is a special kid. You're going to see him playing on Sundays. Don't be surprised. He reminds me a little bit of Mike Iupate when he played at Idaho. and the 49ers took him the first round. A lot of people were like, who's that guy? And then he turned into an all-pro. So that's the type of lineman you're looking at.
2nd and 6. Flag flies and contact there. They'll blow this one dead.
Mets tried to pull an Aaron Rodgers, get that free play before they call it.
Referee, I think, inadvertently turned his mic off when it meant to be on.
Right.
In any event, it is against New Mexico State.
A little encroachment. We saw the jump there, and usually as a defender, you can get back. I always laugh when I see offsides by the nose guards, the D tackles. You're next to the ball. You shouldn't be listening to the quarterback. You should be looking at the ball right there in front of you. That's something that drives coaches crazy, because that's a mental mistake penalty that shouldn't happen. So now you're giving the team a 2nd and short again.
Miners were successful previously on short yardage. This time Mets, little shovel pass, and that'll be enough for a first down, getting it to Josh Weeks. Nice misdirection there on offense.
That was a great play call by Brian Natkin, the new offensive coordinator this week, knowing they have to do some things to get some things going. You ran the ball well with Wadley. Now you fake it and do a little tight end pitch. You know, if you watch NFL football, that's the little thing the Patriots like to do, and a few other teams kind of use that athletic tight end out in space.
Jaden Wright in on the stop. First and 10 on the Aggie 44. Mets handoff to Wadley, breaking tackles, taking on would-be tacklers, and across the 35. This is going to be close to a first down.
This is a great drive by UTEP right now. That couple penalties have kept it going, but you're seeing they have found a recipe, the commitment to run, which Coach Kugler told us that they were going to do, and we're seeing it right now by either running behind Hernandez on the left side just to keep defense off, and then doing that pull play and using the size and the speed of Wadley to get those bonus yards.
So 2nd down and 1, another short yardage situation. They go back to Wadley, but a flag. And a false start coming here. Wadley can come on back.
False start. Offense. Number 31. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Yeah, Forrest McKee, the fullback. You know, those fullbacks like to get their head in there and hit somebody. He got a little anxious to go up there and try to blow somebody up. But you can see, he's like, this is what our offense is capable of doing. And this is the response drive that they needed to have after the turnover led to points. You want to see this out of your offense. I mean, this is what rivalry games all about. This is where you throw records out the door, and you have to line up and play. And right now, we're looking at a team that doesn't look like they're 0-3.
Stoppage here.
UTEP. The first time out of the half.
And UTEP a bit discombobulated on offense. They'll have to call for time, and some frustration there on the Miners sideline. You touched on the run attack, and yes, they had to turn to passing in last week's 63-16 loss to Arizona, but Coach Kugler said, we carried the ball 9 times, never again. We will run the ball more than that from here on out.
And it's a mindset. You got to commit to it, and especially when you got an offensive front like they do, and led by Will Hernandez. You know, they've had some issues, but where their best is when they're running the ball. And so New Mexico State, defense coordinator Coach Bazzini told us, he said, you know, look, we expect them to come in here and run the ball, and that's exactly what they're doing. I guarantee he's talking to them right now that, hey guys, you need to buck up. Stop making the middle mistakes, because you're just giving them 2 short distances because of your 5-yard penalties. And let's hone up, let's make some plays. Don't be surprised they start to dial up a little bit more blitz to bring pressure to stop that run.
Miners have focused on the rush, 6 rushes, 27 yards so far. And now facing a 2nd down here. Out of the timeout. Mets stepping through traffic, rolling right. He'll take it himself to the marker and out of play. Heads up move by Ryan Metz to get away from danger.
And that's what they were missing last week when Greeley was in the game. Greeley's a great quarterback, but he's a pocket passer. He doesn't have the legs to move around like they did, especially when plays break down. So they were very happy that they were able to get Metz back to this game, because they know that ability will help the problems they have sometimes with their offensive front.
Yeah, last week using Zach Greenlee, also using the freshman Mark Torres, he of the ground game, more of a running quarterback. And, of course, all things considered, they're happy to have Metz back, the guy they thought would be their starter way back in summer and spring practice. First down now. The fake to Wadley, the throw near side, that's complete. And then some to the 25, and then scampering forward for a few extra, David Lucero, the tight end, on the reception.
Nice play action. This is what happens when you're able to run the ball. Now you can open up your playbook, do some things. Use the run action because they had success. Get the ball out to your big tight end. He's 6'5", 235. Let the junior get in space and do the rest. And so they've put together a nice drive, eating up clock, doing the offense, not having to rush, because that works to their benefit. You limit the plays in New Mexico State.
And we told you that works against the Aggie strategy. They want 80 plays. They're not going to get there if the Miners are tying up the time of possession. Wadley to the 20. Sutter steps to the 15. And Dalton Harrington is there.
Harrington doing a great job getting around that blocker to make that tackle. It looked like he was blocked, and Wadley had his option which way he wanted to go, but watch the left side of your screen. Look at Harrington come in there. Does a good job of getting off McKee, the fullback, and wrapping up. That's one thing this defense, one of the reasons it's better and more improved is guys making plays, getting off blocks, doing things. The only problem is he was able to get 6 yards down the field, and so now you're second and manageable.
Yeah, the Aggie coach is raving about Harrington. Best season he's had so far here in Las Cruces. Back to Wadley, up the gut to the 10, taking a tackler with him to the 5.
The patience that Wadley is showing right now. This is a late ad. Was nowhere listed on there too deep, so he must have did something in practice to get that. But look at this little dance move, cleared out right there by Hernandez, gives him a big enough hole, and he just gives enough time to let it develop, open up, and cuts through. And great job drive for UTEP going on right now. They're doing it 90% on the ground.
They took Ron LaForce for a ride, a guy who's had a stellar start to his season. Miners now knocking on the door. First and goal from the 5. Rolling right. Metz delayed play action. He'll take it himself to the end zone. Touchdown, UTEP. Ryan Metz gets the Miners on the board, and they're a point after away from tying this one up.
What a misdirection by Metz. He did such a great job on the play action. Watch this. Watch him sell it. As he sells it, the whole defense, everybody thinks Wadley has the ball. Gets him out on the edge with his athleticism. He's able to get the end zone. The one positive about the UTEP offense right now in the red zone, that just made them 5 for 5. So they're batting 1,000% when they can get into the red zone. The problem is they have not been able to move the ball down the field.
And UTEP will call for time. 12 play, 81.
And you can see right there, he is upset, and he should be on a play like this. You don't want to waste one of your timeouts. The earlier timeout, great call. It was 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 4. You wanted to make sure you guys in the right position. You didn't want to waste the play. That's exactly the time to call a timeout. Make sure your team keep that drive going. You don't want to waste the timeout that you may need at the end of the second quarter going into halftime because you had to waste it on special teams, not figuring out how the right person out there to kick the ball or line up. Usually it's an up back or somebody doesn't run out on the field.
Yeah, he is fired up. This is a UTEP man through and through, a graduate in 1989. He's a key member of the team, a longtime assistant, now the head coach, and didn't like what he saw. Does not want to waste a timeout before a point after. As Brady Viles will come on to even things here at 7. Good pressure there from the Aggies, but Viles is true. And we are all even at 7. So a slow start for the Miners, but then they got in gear, and they've tied things up in this one. And we welcome you back inside Aggie Memorial Stadium. UTEP, New Mexico State, all even at 7, as you might expect. A rivalry matchup. Despite the records, the Miners off to a rough start. They've taken on some talented programs, but they still stand 0-3. And tonight, much better. This is what Coach Kugler was talking about. You look at their averages on the ground, already. We're not even through the first quarter, 59 yards. He has to be happy in that regard.
And more importantly, ate up the clock, put together a drive, and got points off of it. I mean, because that's the thing about it. You mentioned that in that Arizona game. They moved up and down a little bit, but they couldn't get into the red zone. And so when you stop drives, you shoot yourself in the foot, you kind of waste that effort. Great start for what UTEP needed to do. I mean, they've been in, they've had the turnover with the offense struggling. So easy to climb in a hole. And these guys, you can see with this rivalry game, are fighting.
Little win there, so they have to have a holder for the kickoff, and the Aggies will down it in the end zone. The offense will resume for New Mexico State. So seems like, Jay, both sides have settled in a bit here. You had the quick interceptions early on, both quarterbacks. Now the teams have established their offense, and they've scored a couple of scores. Yeah,
and so now it comes back to exactly what New Mexico State wants to try to do. Now that you've kind of, I call it, like a boxer, take a couple rounds, you punch in, trying to figure out what the other guy's going to do. Now it's about execution. Now it's about, I figured out your game plan, now can I stop it?
And the onus now back on the Minor defense as the Aggies take the field here, 1st and 10. Quick pass over the middle, caught at the 25. Dante LaViolette coming over to cancel out Xander Yarborough's efforts to go upfield.
Yeah, you don't hear too much of the tight ends, but they got a couple of good ones and good size too, so be looking for them to get more involved as the game progresses.
There's Tyler Rogers, fifth-year man out of Peoria, Arizona. He'll fake the handoff. He'll throw over the middle. Complete. First down. Ball pops loose. What a hit. Aggies recover. They'll rule this one incomplete. Flag comes in after the play. And we have a man down for the Aggies. That was a jarring hit just shy of the 45.
That was. And the only thing I can think about when I see a flag coming out, that might be the defensive hit rule that's been out and around. We'll have to wait to see what they say. But good play action. Pressure almost get there. He catches the ball. You can see the crown of the head leads forward. So I think that might be what it gives to.
The rule on the field is an incomplete pass, personal foul, targeting on the defense, number 27. It's a 15-yard penalty. The previous play is under further review.
And so that's what they're going to be looking at to see what the crown of his head does. But you can see the ball goes up, he catches it, 1 foot down, 2 foot down, gets hit immediately, doesn't really make a football move. Ball comes out, so they're seeing that. But then they're looking at his head. So watch, when Cockrell comes in, where does his head do? It lowers. At the point it lowers, and it hits him. Now, it looks like it hits him in the shoulder there, but still the crown lowers. So it'll be interesting to see what that comes back as. I've learned to stop trying to figure them out because it's just so hard. But this is what the rules go by, and now they have to make a logical decision based upon what they saw on the tape. That
was Anthony Muse, the intended receiver, the redshirt sophomore from Sylmar, California, who took the shot but then walked off the field on his own power.
And that's a tough one. That's a tough one because that was a nice throw by Tyler Rogers. Puts it there. Now you think about that. If that was Xander Yarbrough, who had just went out, might be a different transgression there because he might have still caught the ball. They might not have called it because of how big he is. So even though he would let him, he might have hit him at a lower spot.
And this is something that you can relate to, defensive back in your days. That's a bang-bang play to know where you're going to hit somebody as you're coming in full speed.
The guys I played with, Ronnie Lott, whatnot, I mean, these are the hits that happen all the time. In fact, you hit guys like that so they wouldn't come across the middle. You wanted them thinking about who was lurking there, who was hanging there. And not just the offensive side. Us as defenders, we had to watch out too because sometimes they'd miss the guy they were hitting. You would get hit. So, but the game has changed because of safety, because of concussions, because of all these things. They want to protect the players. They want the players not to leave the head. The hard part, which I would like to see changed, is in these situations, if they deem it, they can throw the kid out of the game. And so in doing so, I think it takes away. I think it should be a 15-yard penalty. The player should allow it to be stayed. Now, if it happens a second time.
There is no targeting foul. The pass is incomplete.
I think that's a good call because even though his head moves, I think that's a good tackle. He comes in on his shoulder, he forms up, and it's a tough one. I've seen it where a guy has to go out the game, he leaves, and so it really hurts the team. So I'm hoping in the future they can really change that, adjust that rule, just make it a 15-yard penalty, no ejection. Now, if you do it twice in a game, like in unsportsmanlike conduct, then yes, you should be ejected. But these kids work too hard to be taken out of a game.
So the junior Devin Cockrell, a captain for this UTEP team, he stays in the mix. Meanwhile, we go back to live action. Another incomplete pass over the middle. This time defensively coming across, it was Michael Lewis.
And that's a big play by Michael Lewis. When you just have a penalty as a DB like that happen, and they pick it up and say it's not, you really are cautious how you have to come in now. Look at that plant. He sees it, directs it. The problem was Yarborough just could not pull it in. Great job by Michael Lewis coming in there, hitting him low, going through him, not allowing him the opportunity. And you can see as he grabs himself because he got tackled low, not giving him an opportunity to secure that ball.
And you're right, with that recent hit on the mind, defender now goes a little bit lower. Yarborough, a bigger guy. Here's the punt opportunity for New Mexico State. And this one will be claimed. Nearly a stop there as Juniel comes up with it. He dances past a couple and gets up near the 35 and then is out of play.
That was very, and I say very, suspect when you want to catch a ball that close. You're playing with fire because look at the defender. He's almost on him. Catches it, does a spin. He easily could have been hit and caused another turnover, which they wouldn't have needed at that point. You got to be smart sometimes. Yeah, you want to make a play, but sometimes you got to make the play when the play is there, not force it.
Just a 7-yard return. They always feel like there's a little Hollywood stuntman in the mind of a punt returner, feeling that adrenaline rush, wants to take that ball and try and do something.
That is the truth.
Miners back at it, under 2 to play, first quarter. Man in motion as Metz is under center. They'll go handoff. Wadley breaking a tackle, spinning off another. He's dumped across the 40, and Quadrez Wadley stopped there by Jaden Wright. He continues to impress here early.
You're looking at Wadley. I called him junior earlier. He's a sophomore, so they're very young at their running backs. Sophomores and freshmen. And one of the things they told us is about repetition, is about work. And I think what they're doing is, like a lot of coaches, they'll say, I'm going to find the hot hand. And right now the hot hand is Wadley. Wadley's getting it done, bigger size. So I think it's a good call. It's just going to be one of those things. Can New Mexico State adjust to it since they really hadn't seen him and get him down?
The second on the team in rushing a year ago, although rushing numbers were down. Metz now rolling right. He has a ton of room to the 40, 45, sliding at the 50. And again, rolling right, not the same deception on the play action, but he did accomplish a similar goal in getting into free space.
Yeah, and that's what's important about this play is he uses his legs very effectively in this first half. When nothing's there, he's not wasting time. He's getting outside the pocket and getting north and south. That is frustrating for a defense because everybody's matched up, and then you lose sight of where the quarterback is.
Early numbers here on Metz and doing it on the ground so far at a better rate. 3 carries, 21 yards, and that score. He hands off now. And that's Wadley trying to break free, but too much New Mexico State. Harrington in the mix. Malik Demby coming on, a guy who's real versatile for this offense, or this defense rather, Malik Demby.
And Demby is one of those guys, when you think about everything that this defense hasn't been getting done, this is a spark they need. You can see his hands wrapped a little bit, but 6'2", 230, more of a hybrid guy. He can play, he's your safety, come down in the box, play that nickel dime backer's position, athletic, can move, and so they need some plays out of him. If that's what's going to happen, if they're going to get them off the field and stop the momentum they've had.
And that's the end of the first quarter. UTEP and New Mexico State, their annual rivalry game. UTEP has won the last 8 in a row, but it was the Aggies who came out firing to start. Miners answered. We got ourselves a good one through 1 quarter in Las Cruces. Lots to cheer about here for New Mexico State. Tied 7-7 with their rival UTEP. Really determined to end this 8-game losing skid. They've talked about it being almost a psychological thing when they take on that man's squad down the road in El Paso. They've got to win to just get over that mental hurdle of being able to beat the Miners.
And look at the defense right now.
Maybe it's a little too excited.
A little too excited. You can tell that they're getting frustrated. You got to be smarter, and unless they're going to see that there was movement.
False start, offense, number 76, 5-yard penalty, second down.
But you can tell the mindset in the second quarter by Spenzizi. They're like, you know what, we're coming. And they were lined up, and it looked like they were getting ready to bring the house to get some pressure to get them out of this rhythm that they've been in running the ball.
And a rare mistake there for Will Hernandez, the senior, perhaps the most likely NFL prospect in this game on both sides of the football.
Oh, yeah, without question. He's definitely there.
Early numbers between these two. Started off in favor of the Aggies. Miners have caught up. UTEP looking to throw. Mets downfield, a little too much on it, looking for Wadley. So first they go handoff. Now they're trying to get the young man out in some space down the sideline.
They definitely utilize him. This is the kid today that I think through the week of practice, and Coach mentioned he thought practices on Wednesday and Thursday is probably the best practices they've had all season long. And so it looks like some guys have risen to the top here with a hot hand and what they're trying to do. And Wadley's done a great job of helping this offense, getting a spark, helping that run game be more consistent. But now they're in a 3rd and long. The more important about this, if you can't get the conversion, be smart. Don't give it a turnover or bad field position.
3rd down. Mets in trouble. Escapes one rush. More on the way. Fakes a throw. Flag flies. Rolling right, and he'll lob it out of play. He is taken down out of bounds. A broken play there for UTEP. Malik Demby on the hunt.
Looks like there's going to be a couple of holds. It just depends on if they're offsetting or where they're at, or if they're on the same person. I see a couple yellow flags out there. And this is the part for New Mexico State that gets frustrating if you're the head coach and Doug Martin, that your offense is not
holding. Defense, number 21, on an eligible receiver. 10-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
It's Jaden Wright on the hold.
So this is the things getting frustrated, because right now, when you look at how this game has been going, penalties on New Mexico State have made a big difference in how UTEP has been able to continue their drives going. And so that scoring drive, there was 2 penalties that allowed that to happen. So now here they go down again, and New Mexico State making penalties that are allowing drives. That's a 3rd and 15. That is a play that you should not get any form of penalty on. Officials
now huddling. Quick look lower right on penalties early on. And New Mexico State really hurting themselves so far. 3 for 25, and some of them have been pivotal, allowing UTEP to keep drives alive. The Miners coming in 0-3, some humbling losses at the hands of Arizona 63-16, Oklahoma 56-7, and Rice 31-14.
And the thing about it is, sometimes when you get blown out.
Correction, there's not an automatic 1st down. It is a 10-yard penalty. It'll be 3rd down.
So sometimes when you get blown out, all the pressure's gone. Nobody expects us to win. I think this is the biggest point spread New Mexico State had against UTEP going into the game. That gets all thrown out the window. So you can play a little freer. You can do a lot of things. New Mexico State, though, on the other hand, all 3 of their games have been tight games. They easily could be 3-0 in those games. Mistakes like this is what cost them 2 of them. They need to make sure they figured it out as this game progressed if they expect to get out of here with a win.
The Aggies came in here with 22 penalties on the year. They've picked up 3 more crucial ones. And you talked about the point spread. It was going back and forth between 19 to 21 points. That tells you something. An Aggie team that hasn't won in this matchup in 8 years, and now suddenly, boom, they're favored by potentially 3 scores.
Right, and so they've done a lot. They've grown, but right now what we've seen a little bit out of this team is a step back. Not necessarily the plays they were making in those other games. Now, granted, both those games, they kind of came back in the second half a little bit, but they have to be smarter. With the senior and junior leadership they have on this team, some of these mistakes are uncharacteristic at this point in time.
Here's a 3rd and 6 on the Aggie 49. Mets under center. Play action, nobody there. He's being chased. He'll roll right, looking to throw on the run, and out of play into the New Mexico State sideline.
You gotta like what UTEP is doing. They know they have a mobile quarterback. Get him out in space. Let him use his athletic ability. So if a receiver's open, he'll get the ball there. If not, he uses his leg. And what we saw right there, the reason they couldn't wait for him to get back is the maturity to get the ball out, not lose any more yardage, because you understand, now it's a field position game. Punt team coming out. Let's see if we can pin him inside the 10.
Here's Alan Luna, the senior, the Ray Guy Award finalist, as one of the top punters in the country. Larry Rose back, and you see what he can do. That is skied high and then stopped at around the 1. And the Miners couldn't have asked for a better setup.
That is a great touchback like I talked about. That's a smartness. One play leads to the next, leads to the next. In this type of game, when you have a team that's 0-3 and a team that's 1-2 that felt this should be 3-0, these are the little mechanic things that make those differences in the game. And so to be able to punt that ball down, pin this offense back that has been kind of stagnant a little bit. You think about it. They haven't really moved the ball the way they normally have throughout the season. The one touchdown was the one run that was 45-plus yards. Outside of that, they have not really gotten across the 50. So for this offense having to start there, Tyler Rogers, there's a lot he needs to do right now. He needs to make sure that this offense at least puts together a 6-7 play drive to at least get to the 50 and force a punt and get the field position switched back.
Slow start here for Tyler Rogers. From the 1, they create some room as Rose is able to take a couple of tacklers with him, shifting past Alvin Jones and picking up a nice chunk there to get things out of harm's way. He'll move the chains.
You can't go wrong giving the ball to Larry Rose III. That 3 and the 3rd go hand in hand.
Yes, they do.
Number 3 is just explosive. We just saw that. Now he just took the pressure off. Now we can do a little bit more on our playbook because we're not pinned back on the 2-yard line.
And ball's on the 14 now. 1st and 10, Rogers with room to operate. Swings it out near side. That is complete to Bryce Roberts. Coverage coming there from Cockrell.
Now let's see how the tempo picks up. You know, every time that they alternate somebody in and out, that gives UTEP the opportunity to switch players. But I'd like to see the offense get a little bit more. Tyler Rogers, I've watched the past few throws. He's kind of been telegraphing. He's kind of been looking where he's throwing. He really needs to start going through his progression to loosen this defense up so they just don't jump on the first ball.
Handoff here. Back to Rose, and not much doing there as he tries to take it right.
So right there, Alvin Jones sticking his nose up in there. I mean, this game means a lot. A lot of people don't realize what rivalry games mean, and usually they play later and not so early. But guys get fired up for this because you talk about this all year long.
Well, there's so many connections. Recruiting athletes, some from El Paso go to New Mexico State, some from Las Cruces go to UTEP.
Some on the same team.
Exactly. High schools. Guys played together, now rivals. Here's Larry Rose. Again, surging forward to the 30 and then some. Kaylon Beverly coming over.
I mean, Rose, when you watch him run, just it reminds me a little bit of David Johnson with the Cardinals. Watch the patience. He's going to start left, let this thing develop, sets it up, and then cuts back right. Gets explosion right there. Alvin Jones, who I just talked about, got out of position, and then he makes you pay because then he explodes through the hole.
Picking up another 1st down for the Aggies. Rogers now has time, fires over the middle. That's complete. Won't be much of a gain. Able to connect there to Jaleel Scott, who's been quiet so far. It's been the Rose show, understandably so, but Scott is a stud for this team.
He is, and we'll see more of that, especially when they get down in the red zone. They like to throw him up. He's a mismatch nightmare. And what we're going to probably start seeing, too, is they may put him inside the slot because in doing so, they get that safety or linebacker, which is an advantage to their offense.
Yeah, coach has talked about moving him around a bit, getting him in the best position for success. Rogers to throw, incomplete there. Bit of a dangerous throw as he comes out near side for Isaiah Lottie.
Yeah, Nick Needham, the right corner right there, number 5. Again, I talked about how Tyler's been telegraphing lately. He was looking at that and ready to jump on that all the way. If that ball was just thrown a little too much forward, that could have been 6 points going the other way.
Now facing a 3rd down and 8. They've done the bulk of this with Rose. He's got 72 yards on the ground on 6 carries.
Looks like a cover 2, so they might have man-to-man underneath. Save 2 safeties over the top. See if Tyler Rogers uses his legs.
Now he goes handoff, and this time it's Jason Huntley, the reserve, and he sprints ahead for a 1st down.
And that play worked because of that coverage, because the corners and everybody was locked up man to man and the safeties were so deep. That was a good check at the line to get in the right position and get the ball to Huntley, who is the same size as Larry Rose and he has the same type of speed, but you can see his average. I mean, very explosive player.
Yeah, when he's in the game, makes things happen, whether he's rushing or receiving. A first down now as Huntley takes a breather. Here's Rogers throwing, incomplete, dangerous pass as he tried to force that one in over the middle. Kalon Beverly there to knock it away.
Kalon doing an excellent job, not getting the pass interference, in position, doesn't panic, reaches around the receiver to knock the ball down. So many DBs, when they get in trouble or get too aggressive, get too close, then they're not patient to wait for the ball gets there. That was an excellent job by him.
Second down. Handoff, Rose redirecting traffic, turning the corner, and closing in on the 45. Michael Lewis finally takes him down.
You know, New Mexico State has found something on the backside. Starting to the strong side, the lead side, going left, that's the way they want to start to run. It's a stretch run play. Now that gives the running back, somebody like Larry Rose, the opportunity to finally see. Then look at that stop and go movement, that vision to see what's coming. This guy is a special running back.
Handoff. And the run attack continues, good enough for a first down. Justin Rogers taken as a flag comes in after the Rose run.
Not seeing any type of mark yet. They're coming up to talk about it, but he's doing an excellent job. And this offensive line is like, you know what? Okay, they've been running the ball. Now it's time for us to run the ball. And this is what a rivalry game's about. It's about the momentum. It's about the movement. It's about the back and forth. And we're seeing that right now in regards to both these teams.
Personal foul, illegal block below the waist, number 21 on their offense. 15-yard penalty. Repeat the second down.
That's interesting. Anthony Muse, one of the receivers. Usually that doesn't happen from a receiver. Usually it's a tight end lineman. You know, one guy's engaged, another guy kind of comes in, maybe comes too low. But again, we go back to these are the penalties that New Mexico State is making that's hurting themselves. I mean, the two penalties that helped UTEP get their first score, and now a penalty that's basically backing you up from the drive you had going.
And we talked earlier before we came on the air about that call and the targeting. Those are two of the real challenges for officials to call and to get right.
Yeah, because you unless you're in the right angle, you see the momentum, it does make it difficult because it may look okay one way and not okay the other. And you know, that's why the instant replay is there for certain things. But for that type of block, it's tough. And as an offensive guy, you just got to know, I got to stay above the waist, and then there'll be no problem.
New Mexico State now 4 penalties, costing them 40 yards. Setting up now a third down and 14 on their own 41. Rogers, an empty backfield. He'll let it fly. That's complete. And it's going to be good enough for a first down. Talk about field awareness here. Connor Kramer going right to the first down marker and making that reception.
And we haven't said his name, but this kid has been productive for this team. Look at this. It's a simple deep dig route. There he is coming across the field, finds the open hole for Tyler Rogers, and does a good job of getting past the sticks. That's the most important thing. He got past the sticks before he caught that ball.
The redshirt senior, 4 big grabs last week against Troy. Back to Huntley on the ground.
Alvin Jones diving up in there again, saving that from a bigger run than what it could have been. That's one of those plays where these linebackers, you're going to see a lot of flashing. They're going to have to shoot these gaps sometimes because if you allow these running backs to be patient and develop and let the play happen, they're going to hurt you, as we've seen. So you got to get back there quickly.
Fake handoff. Rogers throws in trouble. Nearly intercepted. 2 Miners had a crack on it. Kalon Beverly, the best chance, couldn't come up with it.
Well, when you think about that, the pressure coming in by Dante LaViolette does not allow Tyler Rogers to step into that throw, making it an ill-advised throw. Great delayed blitz by him coming in. Watch on the right side of the screen. You see that delayed blitz. He reads it, just comes in. So because of that, Tyler can't step in, and it just kind of arms it. That's a throw. You got to be smart. You can't make that kind of throw.
Devin Cockrell also had a chance. Now across the middle, that's a completion. And able to connect with Jaleel Scott.
Now, Jaleel Scott, we talked about it, and this is where he makes his living, coming across that middle. I would like to see the tempo a little bit more out of New Mexico State. I expected it more fast-paced to be benefit for them. Take advantage of UTEP struggling defensively sometimes when you do that. But right now, Jalil Scott, big-time player, big size, runs great routes.
Aggies now trying to keep things moving. Under 10 minutes to go, first half. All even at 7. The battle of I-10. UTEP, New Mexico State. Rogers to throw towards the end zone. That'll be incomplete. 2 men in the vicinity as that one tumbles out of the end zone. Connor Kramer was in the area, as was Greg Hogan.
Yeah, and I thought Connor Kramer, I kind of thought that might have been pass interference he was looking for. You can see some jersey kind of pulling as they're running, but maybe the ref said, I'm just going to let them play, let it go. But as you see right here at the tail end, you can see a little pull right there at that last step, maybe because it was uncatchable. They weren't sure where it was going, but they didn't call the penalty.
Yeah, it would have been a tough one to pull down. Rose redirecting, now breaking it out. What a run for Rose to the 5, to the end zone. Touchdown Aggies. Larry Rose, unreal.
What a run by Larry Rose III. Looked like he was tackled for a loss in the back. Watch this play as he comes in. The play opportunity, they just miss him. They just swim on him, and he does the rest. He dips under, and you can see the tenacity. Not only does he have breakaway speed, he just is tough to bring down. When you think of somebody 5'11", 195, you think, okay, he's not as stocky or big as a 240-pound person, but he has that type of strength.
The extra point is good, and the Aggies go in front 14-7. So Rose takes one in from the air and then takes it in on the ground, stepping through defenders. Larry Rose III. How'd he get through there? As good as advertised. Aggies in front. Back here in Las Cruces, the Larry Rose show continues. He's got a touchdown as a receiver, a touchdown as a runner, and he caps off, Jay, a 15-play, 97-yard drive with a 28-yard scamper.
And that's the drive New Mexico State offense needed. They've been pretty stagnant this first half. Give UTEP credit. The defense is doing a good job of forcing them into situations where they've had to punt. They had that lone turnover that turned into the points by Larry Rose the first time. But to put that drive together, pretty much that was the Larry Rose show. And you think about it, they overcame a penalty that put them back to 3rd and 15. That big conversion, getting that ball out to Connor Kramer, kept that drive going, got the points on the board.
Larry Rose among the leaders in FBS football, running it, and with a full head of steam, UTEP on the return. Keenan Foster, he had eyes on breaking that one, but is cut down shy of the 30.
Oh, he wanted to go to the house. You can tell by the way he was running. Now last time, UTEP was able to come out and respond. Once New Mexico State put points on the board, UTEP came out, put points on the board. We have to see what they do in this type of situation. The offense was stagnant in the beginning, then they got some mojo going. New Mexico State helped them out with a couple penalties in that drive, but they got the points. Let's see if they come back running the ball the same way. You got 8:58 left on the clock. You'd like to go into this game tied, knowing you get the ball first in the second half.
High formation here for the Miners. 1st and 10 on their own 22. Play action, Metz looking downfield, has a man wide open, incomplete. Way downfield for Tyler Batson, just overthrew him.
Oh, I don't think he thought he would be that wide open, and nor did Metz. That's one of those plays they wish they had back. He's so wide open, that's hard to miss, but that's what exactly it is. Great play action because they've been running the ball. The safety got bit up. Nobody was in the hole. The corner himself was looking in the backfield, shouldn't have been. And that was just a long thrown ball, and I just think Met's eyes just got huge. You know how sometimes you're hungry and your eyes are bigger than what you can eat?
Sure.
That's exactly what that was.
That happened this morning here in Las Cruces. Too much huevos rancheros. 8:51 to play, second quarter. Handoff now. And they go back to Quadrez Wadley. Terrell Hanks coming over for the stop.
And Terrell chased that play down from behind. He's been a little aggressive, sometimes too much. That's how Metz have gotten outside the corner when he's been crashing in on that. But he did a good job of taking a great angle, coming up, seeing the ball handed off, and then chasing it down from behind. that's an opportunity for a strip fumble. So now this is a big play.
Huge play, 3rd down and 6. Miners 1 for 4 on 3rd downs.
So UTEP, they took that big shot. Now's the opportunity they need to make a play. Be interested if they run a screen or a draw right here.
Nets will look to pass. Has time, stepping up. He is going to be taken down and sacked. A New Mexico State sandwich in the backfield. Terrell Hanks leading the way.
This defense is starting to take onus for what's been going on. They know that they've kind of spotted some plays and not played the way they played those first 3 games. And so right now we're seeing this defense in the second quarter starting to dial it up, starting to get that pressure, especially after that mental error that didn't cost them. They made sure to get off the field and not get hurt again.
Second sack of the year for Hanks. The junior from Miami, Florida. Larry Rose back to return this one. Luna will let it fly. Rose will call for a fair catch around the 35 and take it there. And the Aggie offense will get set to return, anchored by that man. All Aggies so far, 14-7, ahead of their rivals from El Paso. New Mexico State looking to snap an 8-game losing streak to UTEP off to the 14-7 lead, and they can look to Larry Rose III as we counted for both of their touchdowns. But now, Jay, the defense living up to their end of the bargain here for the Aggies.
Yeah, they really stepped it up there, especially after that big mental mistake that it could have cost them, and it didn't cost them. And then bouncing back from that, getting the sack. That's how this defense has been playing the first 3 weeks. So they're expecting them to continue that. Now, this offense needs to help them out a little bit. They were able to put together that 97-yard drive. You can go down again and put some more points. The defense can even get after them more.
Here's Rogers. Incomplete. Tried to fire it out near side, looking for O.J. Clark. Perhaps too much heat on that one.
Just a little. You got to have some touch there a little bit. And Rogers, I think, was a bit amped up and was looking at the possibility where he could run instead of just getting the ball out to him.
Second and 10.
Look for Jalil Scott in the slot.
Rogers to pass, avoiding the rush. Coming near side, flag flies. He'll take it himself to the 40. This one could be on the way back as Rogers makes his way out of play.
Yeah, here's the hard part. You're told when you get beat, and I'm thinking this is going to be offensive holding, but we'll wait and see. When you get beat, trust your quarterback or the running back or whoever you're blocking for to be able to make one person miss. So many times when guys get beat, they panic, they grab, they reach, they do these types of things. He got beat, well, we'll see, but Tyler Rogers had gotten outside the pocket, and the backside where he rolled away from, that's where the penalty flag was heading. But we'll wait and see what they say. And you see the players, you kind of hover around, seeing if you can influence.
Illegal block on the back. Offense, number 7 and 4. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
This is Jamin Smith, the senior from Castle Rock, Colorado.
So right there, you see your quarterback's already gone. There's nothing else for you to do. And by you throwing yourself in there, now you just cost your team again. These are the penalties they're getting when they shouldn't get. That's a mental mistake. You got beat, trust your quarterback. He has legs, he knows how to run. He's literally 5 yards away, so there's no need for you to do what you did.
Now 5 penalties for 48 yards, and that one coming on the senior. Rogers now, shuffle pass right in front. That's complete, and pushing ahead to the 30 is Jason Huntley.
I like the call just to ease up a little bit, just get a little bit more positive yards, but here's the hard part. Now you're 3rd and long again. Now you converted the last one, which was great, but 3rd and longs are not that easy to always convert. So you want to get yourself where you're not in this type of position. I look to stretch the defense deep, get them deep, and then get the ball underneath the Larry Rose and see how many people he can make miss.
4 receivers. 3rd and 16 on the Aggie 30. Rogers, plenty of time to pass. Takes one look. Now he's in trouble. Rolling out. Still lots of time. Now he'll fire. That's complete, but going to be well short of a first down. Able to hook up across the way for Isaiah Lottie.
That was a particular call. You only released 3 guys. I would have thought you would release more. They kind of max protect a little bit and release 3 guys. And so the defense of UTEP did a good job. They took everybody away. There's nowhere for Tyler Rogers to go. Now he uses his legs trying to stretch a little bit more, but you can see there's just really nowhere for him to go because there wasn't that many people released in the route. So that sometimes that comes back to offense coordinator making sure you call the right plays to help you guys out. When you're in 3rd and long, there really isn't a play to get that. Screen draws or stretch them out, dump it. That's all you can do is get the positive yards. Now you're punting.
Yeah, you can see Alvin Jones in that replay kind of lurking, waiting for a run option. Was not going to bite and charge in on Rogers. Here's Junior taking it at the 20. Now going to reverse course. And now reverse course again, and he's running out of room to operate, and he is taken down at about the 16.
Yeah.
Intense pressure there from New Mexico State as they turn that punt into a -5 return. Their defense now doing the job. And a look at our head coaches here for UTEP and New Mexico State. And 2 guys, Jay, that if they aren't on a hot seat, a mildly warm chair as they look at what's gone on the last couple of seasons now and looking at the start to this year.
Yeah, and you see determination on both those faces. One, a little bit more angry than the other. But you see these coaches, they know what this game means for their teams, for the rivalry, for themselves. And I think as a coach, you want your guys out there performing. You want to make sure they perform because sometimes if they don't perform well, you feel that reflects on you because you didn't get them ready. And I think that's what both these coaches, as they look out and field with the mental mistakes we see in the penalties, they're like, hey, we got to cut that out. I want a clean game.
Miners back at it. And they go handoff, and not much there. That was Wadley again on the carry.
Yeah, they got a little bit away from it, so now everything's a rhythm. Defense, offense, however, it just is a rhythm. So as offense, you kind of got out of it. You passed a few times. You didn't run like you were running the first part. So now the offensive front has to get used to what they want to do again. And so I'm curious to see if they're going to come back and run the ball again and see if they can establish a run like they did late in that first quarter.
A 1-yard loss there on the carry. Mets now adjusting. Under 5 to play, first half. And he will go handoff again to Wadley, who again finds himself in trouble.
Right now, the New Mexico State defense is doing a great job. You see him right there, Louis Faimaso. I know I messed that part up. I'm going Louis. Louis did a good job of sniffing it out. Now they're starting to read us. They're starting to see. And like I said, Mets has done a great job on that play action, but they are committing to it. They're understanding. They're watching their running back. They're seeing the keys on offensive line. They're trying to get those tackles for losses because they know this defense is even much better when they can force you into a 3rd and long.
Louis Faamasino on the stop, and I only know that after lots of practice, Jay, so don't take it too much to heart as we look here to 3rd and 13. What a deflection. That defense continues to pick up steam as they hunt that one down into the end zone, just knocked down on the attempt. Cedric Wilcox the second. If you're a second or a third, you're having a good night here for New Mexico State.
And you got to think about it. Him and Jasavi'i are both 6'4", 260. So watch, he gets in free, gets that hand up, knocks that down. That makes it tough for Mets. Even though he's 6'3" himself, when you have somebody with that type of wingspan and arms that can come in, as a quarterback, it makes it tough. And they told us, these defensive ends will slide down to defensive tackles and rush from that point. And that's exactly what Cedric Wilcox did.
Luna on to punt, standing inside his own end zone. Larry Rose back at the Aggie 44 to claim this one. And Luna sends it way high. And Rose will call for a fair catch at the last minute, bobbles it, and then hangs on. Larry Rose waited it out, thought about returning it, and then finally called for a fair catch on the 42-yard punt, and a wise choice.
Now here's the hard part. He bobbled it, smart choice. Now you're watching UTEP. If they think that he's free to catch it, so if he bobbles it, but he's still in place, you can't come up there and hit him. And I think that's why they were hesitant, like, I want to go hit him, but he's fair caught. So that means he gets all the free space I need. I got to give him that yard so that he has that opportunity to catch the ball.
Just like he drew it up, right?
Yeah.
Tyler Rogers has spread the wealth. 9 different receivers in the mix here tonight for the Aggies on offense. First down and throwing. Swings it out far side, complete to Connor Kramer, who's out of play.
But you saw the percentage there. uncharacteristically, he's missed a lot of guys today. And so maybe this game means a little bit more to him, being that he's never beaten UTEP. And you got to think about that as a player. When you're the guy, this is your last game, you want to go out as a champ, beating a team that you have not beaten your entire career.
Well, and that was part of the storyline this week. The coaches talked about tapping into that pride of this senior class. Rogers in trouble, and a good bat down from behind. Dante LaViolet coming over to swat it away.
That's an athletic move by the Mike linebacker right there. Easily could have got past interference if he didn't tiptoe around the offensive receiver, but you saw he did the smart thing, stayed in the position and just put that arm out and knock the ball down. I always tell young DBs, don't swipe at a ball, stick your arm out. You have better odds of knocking it down if you just stick it straight than swinging at it.
Third down for the Aggies. 6 to go on their own 43. Rogers downfield to the sideline. That's caught, falling out of play. Able to connect with Jaleel Scott. And they'll keep the chains moving, and a crucial third down connection for the Aggies.
You're talking about an awesome throw by Tyler Rogers and even a better catch by Jaleel Scott. Look at it. He gives his quarterback space on the sideline, one-handed, gets 1 foot down. That's all you need in college is 1 foot. That is an exceptional play right there, because on third down, they've been struggling a little bit. They haven't got those conversions. They needed that.
Scott made that catch people are still buzzing about against Arizona State earlier this year, the one-hand grab for a touchdown. He has shown the big play ability. Rogers dumps it out, and incomplete. He saw 2 big white jerseys coming from UTEP looking for Jason Huntley as the safety valve.
Yeah, UTEP said enough of this, and they said, we're coming after you, and they did a great job. Tyler Rogers did a better job of getting that ball out of his hand, not taking any loss. Now, you see right there, Jason Huntley's right in front of him, so he knows that. And as he's scrambling around, he spots him at the last second. He's just like, you know what, there's nobody around. I'll toss. If he catches it, great. If not, I'm not going to get intentional grounding, and I won't lose yardage. So that very smart play by Tyler Rogers.
Back to the ground attack. Huntley, and he falls down, sliding to the turf. Lost his footing there as he tried to cut it back.
Now, see, Huntley just cost them yards right there. Trying to be too quick. He didn't even give the play opportunity to develop. He ran up in there and just hit it outside. Let this line develop. They've done a good job when Larry Rose Third's in there. You just have to be patient, and at that point, he just wasn't patient.
Huntley, the sophomore, and that's part of that maturation process you're talking about, letting things develop and then finding your lane.
Yeah, especially in this type of running game. They've been so much success on the cutback run. You got to start front side and then cut back.
4 wide receivers. Rogers over the middle. Incomplete. Batted away. Strong coverage there from Nick Needham.
Sure did. Greg Hogan just didn't have a chance. Tyler Rogers put that ball just a little bit behind, allowing Needham the opportunity to come in there and hit that. If that ball's a little bit ahead, that might have been a catch. But these are the touches that Tyler Rogers just been off a little bit this game. He just, you know, for every great throw that we've seen a couple others that are similar to that.
A little bit of frustration there for the redshirt senior. And an oddity, he's completing 70% of his passes coming into tonight. So this is, as you alluded to, Jay, not very Rogers-like. Punt opportunity here. This one will be sent to the corner. And they're going to take a friendly Aggie bounce as they will dive on this one and down it inside the 5. Josh Aganon on the scene for New Mexico State, and turning that punt from Peyton Theisler into an excellent defensive field position.
I tell you what, both coaches should be very excited about their special teams play. Both these teams' special teams, if we can say one thing that's been consistent and solid during this game, it's been the kicking game. On the kickoffs, not allowing returners to get free, and then on the punt game, by not allowing the punters to run, or punt returners to run free, but more importantly, those touchbacks, getting that ball touchback inside the 5. When you can do that, that makes it so much tougher on that offense to go the distance.
This UTEP offense in a real drought. They haven't scored since 2:48 left in the first, and here are their yardage numbers in the second quarter. Abysmal. 3 consecutive 3-and-outs. They'll look to change that now, but in a tough spot. Handoff there, and the pile will move forward, but not by much. They get a little bit out of that precarious end zone position with under 2 to play in the first half.
Yeah, and you know, they bring in the big boy, Kevin Dove, 6 foot 245. So you know you got to get some room there. You want somebody who's going to turn some legs. And that's exactly what you need to happen right now. And I'm curious to see what this approach may be. Sometimes you want to go for it, but remember, they had to waste that timeout earlier on the extra point because the right personnel didn't get out there. So now you know you only have one timeout, and you have 1:56 on the clock and the distance to go. So the question becomes, if we're able to get the first down, then do we speed up and try to see what we can do? Because conversely, I don't want to get a situation where New Mexico State can use their timeouts, freeze us, and get one more shot coming in. So this is where chess really comes in between the coaches and figure out how they want to do, but it comes down to the player's execution, which dictates that.
Yeah, it's the Aggies that called this most recent timeout. You bring up a great point about the hurry-up offense. UTEP came into this game saying we want to run the ball and run it some more, but much like earlier games, they find themselves down, and now they've got to turn back to that pass, and it just gets them all out of sync.
Yes, but at least in this situation, you're only down by 7, so you can still commit to the run and still be there, knowing you get the ball first in the second half.
Only problem here working against the clock, and as you said, a long way from home. On the field, so to speak. Quite close to home in actuality, just about 40 miles away from El Paso. DeMarcus Owen and Wadley on the carry, Owen on the stop. And so you talked about the chess matchup here. Aggies calling another timeout. They're going to try and keep UTEP pinned deep here, and they'd love to go up 2 scores.
Yeah, because you think about it, for them, they're thinking field goal. They would love to have a touchdown, but if you can force them to punt, they don't get. Now, defense has to do their part, not give up this third down conversion. But if you force that, you're looking at the field position that, we may end up getting the ball on the 30-35. So with a minute 50, 40, 30 left, however much time you have left, we only need to get ourselves to the 30 per se to attempt a field goal. So it gives you that advantage, especially you're not getting the ball. So if you can put 3 more points on the board to make it a 10-point game, that's even a more advantage going into halftime.
So each team now with 1 timeout remaining. Third downs have been a sore spot here for the UTEP Miners. And the crowd still filing in, still a line at the ticket window as we approach halftime here. Quite the party in the parking lot, but most of the lower bowl filled here at the Aggie Memorial Stadium, and they are behind their home team.
Well, the word's out. UTEP is playing this game tough. I think people are still driving up the freeway to get here.
Power down the RV, get inside. Third down for the Miners. Play action. Metz rolling right, throwing on the run. Picked off at the 20 to the 15. Aggies reversing field. It's turning now towards the end zone to the 5 and a touchdown. Shamad Lomax.
What a play by Shamad Lomax. That was something that Ryan Metz had somebody open, but it took too long for the play to develop. They do some play action. Lomax is just sitting here hiding in front of his receiver. There's another guy coming. That was just a bad throw. And then the mentality to get, now you're taught to go to the closest side, but he knew how congested that was, and just using his speed to go all the way to the opposite side of the field because of the action, because of where everybody was. Nice play.
Shamad Lomax, the 19-yard return on the interception for the touchdown.
And I think they're going to get Shamad on an unsportsmanlike conduct because of hanging that ball out when he went in to score. Got to be smarter than that. These are the penalties that when they go in, that the coach is going to say, listen, guys, stop shooting ourselves in the foot. We make great plays, don't hurt ourselves.
Point after, up and good. And New Mexico State was hoping for another score, but they didn't think it would come this fast. Shamad Lomax on the scene, takes it in for 6.
Exactly. Opportunistic play. Ryan Metz on that drive should have ate the ball. And when you look at it, the one spot he had somebody open, he took too long, didn't throw it at that point. That put 2 receivers in the same vicinity, and in doing so, that allowed for the interception for a touchdown by Lomax there. Look at the bottom of your screen. You can see here's the bootleg action. So now as he comes this way, you're going to see a flash. Right there is an open receiver. He thinks he's going to keep going. That's number 21, Eddie Senegal. I think he thinks he's going to continue to go. He stops. That ball should have never been thrown. Great reaction by Lomax coming in front. Had it covered. So as a quarterback, you got to know. I don't throw it into a mess. If it's nothing there, I've done a great job all game not doing that, so I just need to throw it away.
Yeah, just trying to make something happen, and in the end, does a little too much.
Yeah, and that's where all players get in trouble. You got to play within the confines of what you do. Whenever you try to do more than what you're supposed to do, a great play may happen, but more than likely, bad plays happen.
So 2 interceptions in this one so far for Ryan Metz. A year ago in 7 starts, 14 TDs, 4 interceptions. So across the season, an unlikely first half here for the QB. And now 1:37 left, as UTEP will try and salvage something here in this first half. And with the unsportsmanlike, the kickoff a bit shorter. And working towards the outside is Keenan Foster. And he'll set things up nicely here for UTEP. They do have a timeout remaining with 1:31 to play.
So if I'm UTEP, here's the perfect situation. I know I need to get points. I would love a touchdown, but I will take the field goal. That's going to cut my lead because I got the ball first coming out second half. So what do? I need to come out with a series of plays, and personally, I would think you need to have 3 or 4 plays already pre-called, ready to go, so that you can use the clock wisely, try to get yourself in field goal range, and get those points.
Let's see what new offensive coordinator Brian Natkin has for this UTEP offense, taking over this week after Coach Brent Pease was released. That's nearly intercepted again off the hands. Intended receiver was Kavika Johnson, and they had Aggies in the area.
And Kavika was open, but Ryan threw it behind him again. Both these quarterbacks, we've seen this. Now Metz isn't as crisp as Rogers, but they are not putting the ball on the spot. You can see that. It's right behind him. If he throws it in front, he catches the ball, he'll get tackled, but at least it's a caught ball. You got momentum moving forward. Both these quarterbacks have just been off kilter. Again, it's a rivalry game, so a lot of nerves are going. You would think they'd settle down by now.
Second down, 1:26 to play, first half. Metz to throw. Has time here. That's complete. Swings it out and lunging forward across the 45. That was Tyler Batson.
Look for a run on this. You just want to get the first down, keep the chains going. The clock will stop when you get that first down. Give you an opportunity to set up. So look for something quick and easy here to get a first down.
And here's 3rd and 2. Metz looking to pass. Fires it out. That's complete to Johnson. First down yardage. And they'll move the chains once more. Lomax there defending. Also Dalton Harrington.
So plenty of time, 56 seconds left. Get your play ready. You're going to have the opportunity to snap that ball as soon as they blow the whistle, set it in play. That way you only eat up maybe 4 or 5 seconds before you snap the ball to help yourself out.
48 seconds and counting now. Metz throwing. And that is incomplete. Sailed it high again. So he has been off target on a couple of crucial plays in this one.
Yeah, and there's 2 receivers in the area. It looks like there's miscommunication. And that makes it tough because when you do that in this type of situation, it's important. Every play counts in a game, but more importantly, in these 2-minute drills, you know time is of the essence. You have to make the most of what you have.
Metz now 5 for 16 passing, 36 yards, 2 interceptions. So first half he'd like to forget. Here's second down and 10. On the Aggie 47, 41 seconds to play, first half. Metz to throw. Stepping up and connecting to the 40, 35, and out of play. That was David Lucero, the tight end.
I like the call. You can see that, and actually that's the first throw that he actually put it in front of the receiver, and you saw what happened. He put it in front of Lucero. Lucero was able to catch it in stride, get upfield for positive yard. That's what receivers are looking for. Put me in a position when you throw the ball to make a play.
35 seconds left. Miners moving the football here. Metz throwing now. Picked off! Again, Lomax! What a second quarter for Shamad Lomax. Took one to the house, takes another one back, and that will silence the Miners' offensive efforts in this first half.
And that's a throw that Metz should not have made. He's staring down the receiver, and I think that's Kavika Johnson that he was trying to go to, and he throws it behind him again. His accuracy is just not there. You can see the ball. There's a stop. There's Kavika, and you see Kavika sits, but Lomax continues to the spot. And so as a quarterback, you have to know where it is. And Kavika Kavika's just sitting in the hole. He's like, nobody's here. I'm sitting in the spot. As a quarterback, Mets, I got to go to where my guy is. I'm not leading him to where the defender's coming from. This is the hard part for the offense. When they do things like that, it makes it tough because you shoot yourself in the foot by not understanding what the defense is doing.
And now New Mexico State can take a knee and run out the rest of the time in a highly successful first half. 21-7 they lead, and how about this for the Aggies at home? 8 years in the making, an effort like this.
And you know what? It's not over. You can see as they're pulling everybody together before they take them into the room. They need to know it's fourth quarter. Just because it's like this now doesn't mean that's how it's going to finish. You can see right there, I guarantee you, that talk is about, hey, guys, this is not over. We played sloppy. We played horrible. That first half, we got to come out here better because if we don't, this team is going to come back on us. So I guarantee you, this means something. And these guys right now are getting the pep talk of their life because they don't want to lose this game.
Yeah, they're a team that feels like they should be 3-0. They know they're 1-2 for a reason. They've had some close calls this year. They feel like they should have been winners against Arizona State, winners against Troy, lost in both of those games. They have a chance to be a winner here tonight against UTEP. It started with Larry Rose III showing them how it's done on the ground. Shamad Lomax showed them how it's done on the defensive side of things. It's all working for the Aggies through 2 quarters. It's a great question this young man asked. Can't overestimate the excitement that these two fan bases face here with this battle of I-10.
Well, and you think about how close you are, similar high schools that people went to, and you've watched this your entire childhood. You think about it, every time it comes on. Normally these rivalry games are played later in the year. It used to be the Thanksgiving deal, and everybody's talking about it. Thanksgiving as they're out playing football, mud football, however you want to do it.
Sure.
But these guys, when you think about it, like I said, that's why records don't matter when you play these type of games, because it's about bragging rights. It's about pride, and it isn't just now. This is something 15, 20 years from now people will be talking about.
And it's a game that they have played for a very long time that they're going to continue to play. The first meeting back in 1914. UTEP holds the overall series lead, 57-35-2 coming in. And even with New Mexico State, a team without a home next year as they leave the Sun Belt, this is still a game that they have secured on the schedule for several years going forward. Not that it is a conference matchup, but they know no matter where they go, they want to be a part of this rivalry.
Well, and it needs to stay that way, because you think about when Notre Dame made the switch they made, and they were said they wouldn't play Michigan anymore, Michigan State anymore, because people are like, no, this is part of what it's supposed to be. So there's certain games, I don't care what happens, it needs to happen. And the fact that New Mexico State has the opportunity to do a sweep, and I remember at San Jose State, my junior year, we got there, we went up to Stanford, beat Stanford, and then we went to Cal and beat Cal, and we got the bragging rights that year as the champion of the Bay. That goes very far.
Quarterback numbers and a struggle for Mets, 3 interceptions as we are back to live action here.
New Mexico State just tried to do a little pooch kick there. I don't know why you would have tried that at that point, but UTEP is ready for it now. For them, coming out, they got good field position to start. You're starting at the 40-plus yard line. So let's see if offensively the adjustments. This is where coaches make their money. Halftime adjustments. Do you make the adjustments to continue to increase your lead, or do you make the adjustments that you close the lead and make the game competitive again?
And so for UTEP, it's like a change of quarterback here. The freshman Mark Torres has come on. And so 1 half for Ryan Metz, and now Torres comes on. Similar situation, though. He gives off to Quadrez Wadley, but Torres, the freshman from El Paso, and his calling card is the ability to run, not just your standard pocket passer, so we'll see if he brings a new look.
Yeah, and size-wise, he's a little bit smaller. So for the defense, you have to be aware of that. Now, where that plays in a factor, being 6 feet, is when he goes to throw the ball. So you're going to see defensive linemen try to get their hands up more versus when Metz was in there, he's 6'3".
The coach is telling us, guy is very talented, just needs more experience. He'll get some right now. Little reverse, swings that one around, and hurdling a defender then down to the sideline. A nice take there from Keenan Foster, but he is slow to get up.
Yeah, it looks like that it's not me wanting to move that right leg, but that's a tough one because he made a very athletic play, and you're not sure how he came down. Dalton Harrington saw that receiver reverse, but did not have the speed to keep it from getting outside. He saw it, he just couldn't get upfield enough to shut it down. And you can see right there, so as he comes around, he's trying to jump over. And you can just, very funny how he comes down. You can see that right ankle kind of gets a little caught there, so it's hard to say exactly what part he got hurt.
And what hasn't Shamad Lomax done tonight? As you see a flag here, 3 interceptions, and then from the seat of his pants, he upends Foster.
False start, offense, number 81, 5-yard penalty, first down.
The hard part for UTEP, and these are the bugaboos that when you come out of halftime, you don't want within the first couple of drives another penalty. Now they haven't had as many as New Mexico State, but you understand with the way your team's playing, you can't afford these type of mistakes. You have to play near perfect to get back in the game and win the game. And every time you get a penalty, especially on first down, push yourself farther back. It just makes it harder and harder, especially on third down.
Torres taking the field for the first time in this one. And he'll throw here, and that is intercepted. What a snag in close. And will head the other way. Nicely done by Terrell Hanks.
Terrell Hanks, earlier in the game, the first half, he got that sack, bringing that pressure from the outside. He had gotten beat a couple times by Metz getting outside because he was so aggressive. He's kind of controlled how he's coming on his outside rush now. And I mentioned about the height, about now they know he's 6 feet tall, he's going to have to throw hard. Look at the pressure coming. He sees it, gets the arms up, gets the tip on it, and he's able to do that because he's just trying to dump it over. So there isn't a lot of velocity on the ball. Very athletic play by Terrell Hanks, 6'3", 235. So you think about that. I'm going against a quarterback that's 6 feet tall. I know every time I come in, I'm getting my arms up because I want to make it even harder for him to get the ball over.
The junior from Miami with a big takeaway. And now they go to Rose. Looking to the outside, tries to reverse field and going nowhere fast. Great solo tackle there. Coming across is Devin Cockrell.
Yeah, and that's where you kind of get a little too cute. I mean, Rose has done a great job of finding this team, getting north and south, delaying, waiting for that back cut. But in that type of situation, when it's not there, just go forward. Just go forward, get positive yards.
Trips to the right. 2nd down and 12, 2-yard loss. Shovel pass, incomplete, looking to dump it out to Rose in front. And so quickly, 3rd down here for New Mexico State after forcing the turnover. That's the 4th interception tonight for UTEP.
And right now we're looking at New Mexico State's a bit rough. Coming out of the second half, defensively they seem to be playing there. Offensively, they're still having a little bit of struggles of getting some continuity going on consistency here with plays.
3rd and 12, Aggies 5 for 9 so far. Rogers firing and incomplete. That one was off the mark, was looking for Jaleel Scott, but well behind him and out of play.
Yeah, I mean, they just looked all cahoots out of there. I mean, nothing seemed to flow in that whole series. I mean, you take the momentum of what your defense just did, you hop out on the field, you got to be able to capitalize. You're on the short side of the field. You at least want to get a first down, get a chance for a field goal. So that's kind of a waste to play. You got to be smarter. New Mexico State, you think about the games they've had. They've been in every game. They easily could be 3-0. And it's these little things that add up. UTEP on the other side, they got a lot of work that they're working on. But you can see they're trying, they're fighting, they're trying to be in this game.
Theisler with a low kick and a beauty. That one bounds out of play inside the 5. No shot for Terry Juniel to return that one. So even when the Aggies struggle, things go their way. Miners back on offense after this. And we're back in Las Cruces. 4 interceptions have powered the New Mexico State defense. If you're wondering, the record is 6. Going back to 1988 against a school that doesn't have a program anymore, Long Beach State.
And I played against Long Beach State. It's so funny.
Showing your age.
It's so funny. Back then we were the PC2A. So it was New Mexico State, Long Beach State, Cal State Fullerton, University of Pacific.
Miners back at it. And a handoff there, and Wadley on the carry, and that's him in the center of a mass of black jerseys.
Right now, if I'm UTEP, I'm not looking at the score. What I want my guys to do, and especially with the offense stepping up behind Will Hernandez, I go back to what worked in that first quarter. Start running some balls. Start pulling Hernandez on some guard pulls and getting your running back out in space. There's
still plenty of time here. Only a 21-7 game, so all not lost here for the Miners just yet. Torres, low snap, and flag there. Aggressive defense, Lomax, maybe looking for his 4th interception personally as he came charging over to knock that one away.
Pass interference, defense, number 22. Ball was placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Yeah, that clearly was very, you can see it. He hooks him with the arm, just way, way, way too aggressive on that. Got to be patient. You got 3 interceptions. You might get 4, but just don't force it.
Yeah, getting there a bit early on the attempt to Batson.
Because you got to think of it this way. UTEP's passing rhythm is not on. New quarterback just came in Torres, so you got to fill him out.
That's the first penalty for New Mexico State in some time. We talked about that quite a bit in the first half. Here's a nice run. Wadley cutting it back beyond the 20 and then driven out of play by Ron LaForce.
And now all the credit we gave Lomax, that's something right there that was a snafu on him, the over pursuit. That's one thing I've seen this defense kind of do a little too much sometimes. Guys want to get there so badly, they're over pursuing. If Lomax just stays outside in like he's supposed to, then all of a sudden Wadley can't bounce out like he did.
So 2nd down and 1 after the carry from Wadley. Early moments here, 3rd quarter. Here's Torres with trips to his left. Wide receiver screen, it's tipped up and batted away, and Terrell Hanks, he has 1 pick looking for another. You talked about it, Jay. They are zeroing in on those throws close to the line. They're going to use his lack of height to their advantage.
Exactly. I mean, you're taught as a defender, if you can't get to the ball carrier or to the quarterback, get your hands up. Make that picket fence as high and hard it is for him to see through it and throw over. And when you're a quarterback that's only 6 feet tall, this is the issue that happens, especially when you know the type of offense. You got to think about it. They both run similar offenses, so New Mexico State's used to this quick passing game.
Now 3rd and 1. Torres in the I formation. They'll go handoff. A big surge, and the Aggies are there. Harrington leading the charge. Hanks in on it.
Jasavia Reese, your defensive end, number 9, gets in there and just blows that up. He gets underneath Jared Brooks, the right tackle there. Look at the bottom of the screen. Watch him just shoot through there and blows all that up. Takes on the All-American guard, Will Hernandez. Doesn't even have a shot to get there before he does and blows that play up. When your defensive lineman can play 2 yards in the backfield, you will always have negative plays.
Impressive rush there from Stody Bradley, the senior, to get inside and force that stop. And now punt again. Luna's been a bit busy. And Rose is going to get a chance here. Takes it to the 35, a slight bobble. Regains possession to the 40 and not much further.
And this is the thing Rose does. When I talk about NFL teams and looking at him, this is the fastest they're looking at him. They're looking at him as special teams. They're looking at him as a 3rd down back.
Kaylon Beverly on the stop. Timeout on the way. We're back with more from Las Cruces after this. Larry Rose, the 3rd top freshman in the conference, his first year, top offensive player in the conference as a sophomore, and now doing this as a senior.
Yeah, I mean, everything you want out of him. Great jump moves, sticks his leg in, keeps going north and south. Great receiver out of the backfield, runs tough between the tackles. Anything you need, elusive player. Not one guy can really bring him down when you think about it. At 5'11", 195 pounds, very powerful runner.
Said he missed all of last year with hernia surgery, the senior from Fairfield, Texas, making up for it in the early stages of 2017. And we're ready to play. 1st down and 10, Aggies on their own 26. Rogers fakes the handoff, rolling right. In trouble, and he is dragged down out of play. That was Julian Jackson on the chase.
Julian's good size, 6'3", 235, and you can see right there Tyler Rogers is not really known much for his speed. Kind of got run down. Luckily, he got out before a hard tackle could happen.
So no gain there, 2nd down. Rogers back to pass. Wide open, but incomplete. He had Rose so wide open. Frustration there as those two couldn't connect. It was going to be a big gainer.
You know, Rogers has been off this entire game, uncharacteristically. We talked about a 66.7% passer, completion percentage going into this game. He would normally hit that. I think it's just too anxious, too wanting it so badly, sometimes you got to taper down and really take your time and place the ball where it needs to be placed.
And now a big third down here facing the Aggies. They'll pass once again over the middle. That's on the money. Complete for a first down and then some. Pushing it downfield for a big gain and a first down completion. Able to hook up with Anthony Muse.
Now that's the type of throw that he's known for. Watch this, a seam route on the right side of your screen. He just drops it in over the linebacker, Alvin Jones, puts it in a spot before the safeties can get there. Anthony Muse does the rest. That's the type of play that Tyler Rogers can make, and he just needs to stick with that, get back on that type of track.
So on a big third down, the Aggies keep the drive alive. They push into Miner territory. Rogers to throw on first down. Fires complete. And that'll be a nice gain. Able to push that one out and connect with Jonathan Boone.
Well, this is the type of offense that they like to do. Get some good hits, get the ball moving.
This is part of that hurry up, no huddle they talked about.
I would look for a run in this type of play. They brought in Bryce Roberts, a tight end, 6'4", 270. See what he does. Number 87.
3 yards to go. They'll pass it. Rogers fires, complete again, and then some to the 20. And he's able to find Boone once more. Nick Needham in for the stop, but not before Boone can move the chains.
Good job by Boone. Big target. They did a really good job by the way they recruited and really built these kids up in regards of getting them heavier and stronger. And you can see it by, how tall and lanky but yet strong the receivers are.
And Doug Martin raving about the weight training facilities here on campus, how that has improved guys like Larry Rose among others. Speaking of Rose, a stutter step to the 5 and down.
And that play worked because they brought in Bryce Roberts, the tight end. Watch the setup. Now you got 3 guys on the left. Good block. Now watch what Rose does. Look at this hiccup right here. Just enough to get Michael Lewis off space to pick up an additional 5 yards. This is the dynamic that he has as a running back, able to make guys miss in space and get north and south in a hurry.
Put Lewis on skates. Nice maneuvers from Rose. And setting up a 1st and goal on the 6. Rogers fader out, going to the corner, going up and getting it. And a couple of flags fly in as a big grab there from Jaleel Scott.
And that's what they like to do in the red zone. I've mentioned it earlier in the game when they get down here.
Defense number 5. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line, automatic first down.
Because of his size, 6'6", 215 pounds, they like to play jump ball with him. And right from the beginning, Needham just basically is locked on. He's not even looking, and he still almost comes down with this ball. At the very last second, it gets pulled out. But that's why they like to go to him, get him out there in open space, that one-on-one coverage. They feel they'll win that matchup every time. Now he's in the slot. Watch what happens now.
First down ball on the 1. Rogers swings it other side. That's complete to Rose, to the end zone. Another touchdown for the Aggies. And a 3rd score for Larry Rose III.
Larry Rose, now they're going to get it for celebration. That's just pushing it way too much. You've lost this game a lot. You really want to make a difference, but you can see he rolls to his left, nothing's there. Rose does a good job just faking it, getting out. Defense does not get there in time. That's Alvin Jones trying to get there. He cannot match that speed, and you can see that. He's just, whatever that's supposed to mean, getting off your shoe or whatever, costs his team another 15 yards. But these are the penalties that they can't have, but the score was a good score.
So that'll be penalized on the kickoff, but the damage done here as the Aggies now looking to go up 28-7. Here's Dylan Brown on for the point after. And the lefty is able to hit, and 28-7 the lead for New Mexico State. Eyes on not just snapping a losing streak to UTEP, but sweeping their 2 big rivals. New Mexico's already been beaten. UTEP now looking like they might be another victim. And just because they're up 28-7 doesn't mean there's not some things to correct here for the Aggies.
And that's what he's talking about. You got to be professional. Even in college, unsportsmanlike conduct on what they're getting is unacceptable. You score, act like you've been there before because you have. Yeah, this game means a lot, but you need to win in class. And I think that's why he's getting on them, which he should, because they're going to be in another games that this will cost them. This will hurt them more. And you cannot have these type of mental penalties on things like celebration into the end zone. You got to think about it. There's 2 kickoffs now. The interception for a touchdown, same thing happened. And luckily, that didn't get taken back to the house.
This one taken by UTEP at the 15. So again, increased field position for Juniel, and he will get it up to the 35, and then a flag comes in late. A little shoving after the play, and this is what also happens in a rivalry, Jay. Things get a little chippy, have to separate some of the athletes.
Yeah, and this is the hard part. When guys have not won, and they have not won in 8 years, you remember this. And so New Mexico State not only has to look at this year, next year this game is going to happen again. This tape's going to be put on everything that's happened. So you gotta have a bit more class. You got to be under control. And that's
During the return, holding on the receiving team, number 3, 10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul, first down.
And so both these coaches are going to get themselves, get their guys under control. But more importantly, right now we're looking at New Mexico State, Doug Martin there, just saying, hey, this is enough, guys. And as a coach, what you start to do is sit guys down. If you're going to start doing, you come sit them on the bench, and guys will get the message real quick to calm down.
It's a great way to get your point across. No more playing time.
Oh, exactly.
7:35 to play, third quarter. Jay Taylor, Greg Meskel here with you from Aggie Memorial Stadium on the campus of New Mexico State. Torres, handoff. Aggies read it the whole way. Wadley was going nowhere fast.
And this is what's going to happen now. Because of the score, this defense is really pinning the earbacks and just bringing all kind of pressure. If I'm UTEP, you know what they're doing. You know they're lining up. So this is the perfect, I call it goal line. Just like in goal line situations, when you go to camp and practice, goal line, mano a mano, you know we're running, just try to stop us. And that's what they need to do. They want to get their running game going. Now's the time to really work on it.
Malik Demby led that surge for the Aggies. 2nd and 10 now. And Torres goes handoff, and again, not much. And they go back to Wadley, and you talked about the size early on. It's worth mentioning the whole stable of backs for UTEP that haven't really been used. We're talking about Walter Dawn, Kevin Dove, Joshua Fields, Ronald Awatt. We have seen very little of that 4-pack of tailbacks.
You're right. I mean, Kevin Dove's gotten in a little bit, and we know Walter Dunn started out a little bit, but
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct foul. Number 72 on the offense. 15-yard penalty. Third down.
so here's now where things get testy. Guys are tired. You're losing. Keep your composure. Both sides. New Mexico State, they got the penalty for what they did. Now it's happening to UTEP. You have to be smarter. You have to understand what's going on. But back to the running part, I mean, Kevin Dove's gotten there a couple times, but I think Wadley's just been so explosive for him at the start. That's why they stuck with it. But you're going to have to commit to it. Now, here's the part. Now you put yourself in long situations. Just be smart. Run the ball, simple screen, go ahead and get off the field.
A third and a long way. Torres stepping up, eluding one. He won't get away from the rush, just shovels it up high and incomplete. And saved himself from the sack. Kavika Johnson was in the area, but boy was Torres in trouble.
He was in trouble, and as athletic as that was, that's scary. Because that's how another turnover could have happened. As a young quarterback, you just got to learn to go down. You see right here, nothing's there. Here comes the blitz pressure. That was Darrington Harrington bringing it in. And so when nothing else is there at that point, just go down. Because it's better to have a short distance to punt versus a possibility of a turnover and then the defense having to defend a short field.
And that's what more than likely this conversation is about. You saw in the replay when Torres let that fly, he wasn't even looking to see where that ball went. Could have been anyone there to take it back.
Exactly.
Luna will punt from his own end zone. And he'll send this one a bit of a low kick, and Rose will steer clear as it bounces out of play, shy of 35.
Rose got to help his blockers out. He needs to yell, Peter, fighter, fire, whatever term they use, meaning ball's hot, get away. Because sometimes when you're blocking for your guy, you're not paying attention all the time to where the ball is because you're trying to keep your guy there. So if your guy's calling it off, he has to make sure he's screaming loud enough. It's quiet enough in here right now in those situations that he would hear you.
52-yard punt from Luna. And New Mexico State will head back out on offense. Looking to go 2-2 before they head to Arkansas next weekend. So a big challenge, and then conference play on the way in the Sun Belt. Rogers to Rose, to the 40, turns the corner, still working out a play, and looks good enough for first down yardage. Justin Rogers in pursuit.
It's so funny, as Coach Kugler said, he's like, man, that back is something else. We got to shut him down, and you can see the type of game he's had. If you don't slow him down, he's explosive, and that's exactly what he's done tonight. He's just made some plays when they needed him.
Hand off to Rose. Picks up a couple. Yeah, there was no shortage of respect for this New Mexico State team from Coach Kugler. Hear his remarks to the media this week, and he rattled off a pile of stats about things that New Mexico State does well. It started with Larry Rose. Talked about Tyler Rogers, a guy he felt like he's been playing against for 5 years because he has. The guy's been around that long. So there was no overlooking of this team that they have handled so well in the past, as Rogers now will look downfield, incomplete. Lots of contact, and here come the flags.
Oh, yeah, he was holding him. And, you got to think about Jaleel Scott, 6'6", 215.
Pass interference, defense, number 1, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And Kalen Beverly is 6'1", and he's 6'1", so he's tall enough. But what you got to understand, when you have a tall guy running down the post, it's tough. You can see right here, he's grabbing him, and you got to just let go. You got to let go and play. Don't panic, play. Because then you never know, the ball might have been short. It might have been overthrown. But I see that so much with young defensive backs, and even guys in the NFL. When they get beat, they want to grab. Don't grab. Trust your speed. See if you can close the gap.
And a great shot from our crew there, showing the spiral coming in and the grab. And now sets up a first down on the 34 of the Miners. Rogers. He'll let it fly. And that is caught inside the 15. What a grab for Connor Kramer. Rogers just popped it up high. Kramer was there.
And I talked about Tyler Rogers, getting a little bit more accurate as this game progressing. Look at this touch. He puts it right on the sideline, and that's even a better catch again by Connor Kramer. Look at this toe. Catches it, gets it down, and that is a catch. I know they're going to look at it. I'll have to wait and see that. Even if they say it's not a catch, that's still pretty spectacular to get your toe down on the line with that type of throw. Now, and Tyler Rogers put just enough air on that so that his guy had enough time to run it. That's the touch that he needs to have on these types of throws. And you can see he's reaching out. There's the catch. 1 foot is down, but it's not secured yet. That's a tough one. I can't tell if that's on the line.
It looks like there's some green.
It looks like green. I've been waiting for the day that they use, if you ever talk to a construction guy, they got those laser levelers. You can put a laser down. Where you see the cone on the red cone right there, to be able to shoot something down the line where they actually will have cameras that can see this stuff from sideline to sideline. But still, off my naked eye, that looks like a catch. Now, I don't get paid to call that, so we'll see what they say. But to see Tyler...
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
And it looked like a good catch to me. And I think the referees were right there, and I think they saw it. One was watching the catch, one was watching where his foot was. And you can see the guy in the back was looking at the catch, and I think the guy in the front was looking to see where that foot was. That's just a spectacular play, great concentration. And Tyler Rogers the accuracy is starting to pick up. You can see the Tyler Rogers of the first 3 games.
And the technology you want is from the game of tennis, where they're able to tell those shots down the line. Are they in? Are they out? They need this for those sideline calls. Here's a low throw, and that's complete.
I mean, if you think about it, with the amount of money that college and NFL, everybody makes, it's a move that I think is just a matter of time, because then it eliminates any and all of the questionable sideline things that people aren't sure about.
Josh Aganon on the reception. Second down. And they go Rose. And he is dancing his way to the right. Alvin Jones there on the stop. So Aggies now accomplishing a few things here, peeling some time off the clock. They've kept the ground game going, and they've really controlled the tempo of this matchup. You got to go back to really the first quarter when UTEP had that one touchdown. Otherwise, it's really been all New Mexico State.
And you think about it, in that drive, New Mexico State had 2 costly penalties that kept that drive going on third down. Take that away, that score possibly doesn't happen. So the offense is doing what it wants to do and what it needs to do. And now it just becomes the point of making the plays. You can see he's eating up all that time.
And a touchdown to the end zone. Connects with Connor Kramer. He had all day.
He had all day eating up that time so that his receivers can find a hole. And this is the synergy that this team has developed because of being together these 4+ years. And the attitude of understanding now we can make plays when we need to make plays and score in the red zone. You can see it. Look at the patience. Offensive line doing an exceptional job giving them all this time. The UTEP front exhausted, young, not able to do the separation there. And if I look at that correctly, I want to say that was Alvin Jones trying to keep up with him. The inside linebacker chasing the slot receiver. That's a win for the slot receiver all the time.
And the only loss so far in the second half, that's the point after attempt by Brown, is off the mark.
Well, it could be because Connor Kramer did all running. He was tired, couldn't hold the ball down right. But you can see just getting up there, getting in position, getting out. And think about that. He had the big catch that got him down to this position. And then 2 plays later, he gets rewarded with the touchdown.
Redshirt senior from Grand Bay, Alabama. And picks up his first touchdown of the 2017 campaign. And this is more of that generosity on offense from Tyler Rogers, getting multiple receivers involved, getting multiple backs involved. It's all been part of a 34-point effort.
And that's how you average over 400+ yards a game, is spreading the ball around. Because now defensively, I can't take away a guy because you're going to everybody. So I have to play the game honest. I have to play the field honest, and then that's an advantage to the offense, because as a defense, you want to take something away. You want to take the best player away. Well, pick your poison. You want to take Larry Rose away? I got Connor Kramer. I got O.J. Clark. I got Jaleel Scott. I got Jonathan Boone. I got Xander Yarbrough. I got Bryce Robert. I got pieces. I got, so what are you going to take away? I'll go to the next one. So I think Tyler Rogers has done a great job, even though he struggled with his accuracy at the beginning part of this game, keeping that going.
Juniel will take that into the end zone and not advance. And now the Miners find themselves in a real hole, trailing 34-7. And some people said, whoa, New Mexico State 20-point favorites in this one. They haven't beaten this team in 8 years. The rivalry tends to go in UTEP's favor, but we're seeing why. And you look at the progress or lack thereof for the Miners on offense, and it has been a parade of punts and picks.
And that's been the story of their season and the struggle they've had. I mean, you talk about New Mexico State. They easily could be 3-0. Very competitive game down at ASU. Probably should have got out of there with that win. Troy here, if it wasn't for a mix-up, they would have got out of here with that win. So you're looking at a team that's really playing hot versus another team that's still trying to find itself with a lot of youth.
Torres now throwing and overthrows his receiver, looking for Tyler Batson. Too much on it.
I mean, you think about it. Metz is a junior, but Torres is a freshman. You have sophomore and freshman running backs. Outside of Hernandez, your senior left guard, senior left tackle. But there's a lot of new faces up front. And so that's tough when those guys don't get those reps in.
Torres so far 0 for 4 and the 1 pick. It has not been a good night for passing the football on the UTEP side of things. Handoff here, and a couple as the pile moves forward. Louis Faamasino coming in to make the stop there as Kevin Dove has gotten back in and gotten the carry.
And you can see right there as you're watching, number 94 needs to back up a little bit. I think he's saying he's hurt. guys need to watch what they're doing, but I think he got a little twisted at the bottom of that pile. It's a big running back. And sometimes when you keep driving, guys pile up on your legs.
And injuries have been a problem. You know, you see Dove come off. UTEP lost 4 key players. You look at the week after Rice leading in to Arizona. Key members of the offensive line, wide receiving core, defensive side of things. It's been tough. As Torres now rolling right, has room for the moment, and he'll just throw it away.
That's exactly the smart play Torres had to do. Now you got to watch it there at the tail end as he's being chased to make sure that was Malik Demby, not to get a roughing the passer type situation. But you know, this is what the young quarterback needs to understand. If nothing's there, I got to get out of bounds.
So after they go 2 for 11 on third downs thus far. A punt chance now for Luna. Torres wanted a call. This one will be sent to about the 30 and then bounce backwards. So a rare friendly bounce here for New Mexico State on Luna punts. He's been pretty strong thus far. Bit of shoving and a flag flies.
Again, this is the testing. This guy's got to be smarter and stop the nonsense.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct foul, number 41. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Leon McQuaker, Sterling Napier mixing it up on the punt.
As you see right there, and now he's giving him earful, and it needs to be. I mean, you think about it. He's a junior. You got to be smarter than this. You're winning the game. 34-7, 2:46 left in the third quarter. Their offense is having a hard time moving the ball. Your offense is doing almost what it wants to do. This is the point that you just play your play and then you just head to the sideline. And so, I understand you haven't beat these guys in 8 years. There's a lot of vitriol because it's not just for you. It's also for all those other teams up until this point. But you need to learn to go out there and play with class as a player should.
There's no doubt the Aggies are fired up. Coach Martin coming into this one said the Aggies will be hell on wheels. And you've seen a lot of that here tonight. Sometimes they've gone a little bit overboard. It's cost them a bit, but by and large, doing the job ahead 34-7. Rogers, empty backfield. He'll let it fly down the sideline, has a man looking for Rose. He couldn't hang on. Good coverage there from Lawrence Montague.
Yeah, that's a tough ask to cover a running back like Larry Rose on an out and up the sideline. The big boy Montague gotten it done, 6'2", 235.
A little more than 2.5 to play, third quarter. The Aggies have been in control of this one since it was tied 7-7. Here's a shovel pass to Huntley. Just a couple.
This young defensive front, they've given up a lot, but certain plays you can watch, they're able to get off blocks and make the plays. And so there's always promise. When you look at a game, win or loss, there's always some things you can pull out of it. It's just a matter of understanding you got to play something for 4 quarters. Now, he's been limping the whole game, Huntley has. So I'm just curious about what this injury is because he's been that way since play 1.
He's been battling an ankle injury, and that has limited some of his activities. You see him hobble off here tonight. We don't know if it's the same situation as the swing out to Rose and not much there. Kalon Beverly, Justin Rogers on the scene.
Yeah, I'm just kind of shocked at some of the play calling right now by New Mexico State. Taking that shot on the first down, I'd line up and just run the ball. I mean, you got a team that's on its heels. Guys are tired, a little bit gassed. Eat up some clock. Work on your running game. Get positive yards that way. Because as the way it's going now, you have this win. Unless there's some move off of John Madden that's going to give you, so use it to smartness.
Pretty good rush there from UTEP, but Theisler gets it away, and it'll sail out of play at about 35. And you're right, just a couple of tweaks from New Mexico State, whether it's the penalties, perhaps some of the play calling. just more to take time off the clock, just secure the victory. With where they're at now, they're in good shape here. Although with 1:15 in the third, a full fourth quarter, despite what UTEP has done here in the second half, we're talking about 1 pick, 3 punts. Doesn't mean they can't start to turn things around. Torres has shown flashes this year.
He has done flashes. I think the biggest thing for them, if I'm them, I'm lining up and doing some run, maybe even some quarterback runs.
Torres thought about passing. Now pulls it down, will take it himself and get out of play. And one of the questions here for Coach Kugler and this Miners team is, if you're determined to run the football, you've changed offensive coordinators because you want to run the football, as we see a stoppage here, but you keep finding yourselves in games where you have to pass to stay in it. How do you ever get in that flow?
And it's tough. And I've seen teams play magical quarterbacks or musical quarterbacks where you literally bring in 2 different quarterbacks and make the team have to adjust for 2, and you have a different set of plays for each quarterback. You get creative. You find different ways. The way these guys run between Metz and Torres, maybe some individual quarterback runs where you line up and you got that back as the extra blocker.
Torres looking to throw here, nobody home, sails it over the head of the intended recipient. Looking to connect with Eric Brown, the junior.
And so in that situation, we saw Metz use his legs effectively. And now granted, he's a junior, been around a bit more, but okay, nothing's there. I only released 3 guys. I'm not protecting the help. So now I'm going to get out and run. And I thought they were more effective on the boots. When they're able to run a little bit to make the New Mexico State defense play them honest and then get out on the edge, it allowed their quarterback to be a little bit more athletic. You might have to try to dial some more plays like that up here going into the fourth quarter.
Third down now for UTEP. Torres in trouble, looking to throw. Hit, steps free, and then won't escape the secondary rush. Malik Demby coming over.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nobody open downfield. And you can see Torres' frustration, but right now the receivers aren't winning the one-on-one battles. And to the defense's credit, I mean, when you know a team has to pass the ball, you play them very differently. And so the DBs are able to really hawk on the receiver more, and sometimes they're doubling them, and they're just not able to get over.
Luna will look to punt this one away as time winds down in the third quarter. Sends this one sky high. Rose will call for the fair catch and claims it there, just shy of the 15-yard line as time expires in the third quarter. 3 complete in Las Cruces, and the home team, they can taste victory now over their longtime rival. They lead it 34-7. 1 more quarter to go to snap the streak as the Aggies and Larry Rose III look to even their record at 2-2 and finally erase their losing streak to UTEP. Three quarters complete in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and the Aggies holding serve over UTEP 34-7, thanks in large part to Larry Rose III. What a day for this senior.
When you look at this, I mean, 13th career 100-yard game. I mean, that's a lot to say when you think about everything that he's endured. Secondary school history as it stands right now, who knows what happens. If I'm New Mexico State, I feed him the pill this entire drive just to see how many more yards he can end up with.
At least get him to 4,000 on the career. Why not just check that off the list?
Exactly.
Start of the fourth. And New Mexico State back at it, and as prescribed, they stick it on the ground, and Larry Rose.
And I think what you're going to see right here is a different pace going into this fourth quarter. I'm sure he's barked at it enough that we shouldn't see any more penalties, the knucklehead penalties. Guys are just going to be focused on doing their assignment and seeing how much clock they can eat up.
It's a lot of passes for Tyler Rogers. Struggled with accuracy at some points in this one, but has done enough to pilot his team to a strong advantage right now as they keep it on the ground again with Rose. Sky Logan, the senior, comes up for the stop.
And you know, it could be a blessing in disguise for Tyler to come out and kind of have a game he had today where it's rough, it's messy, hasn't done what he needed to do, but he's made the throws when the throws needed to count. Because like you mentioned, where they go next week. And so going through the this right now may clean a lot of it up so that in that type of game he won't have those type of mistakes.
Long throw, complete. Jonathan Boone. Devin Cockrell was in coverage, but Boone able to get open and make the grab.
Now, what was great about that throw, I was talking about how the quarterbacks have been throwing behind. In this throw, you have to throw behind because you know the safety, Cockrell, is coming over. So as a receiver, you have to expect the quarterback is going to try to squeeze that ball in there, and he squeezed it into a spot to protect him from the safety so that he could catch it. That's an exceptional throw.
Put the ball where only his man could get it. First down, Rogers to throw again, throwing downfield. That's complete across the middle, down to the 25, and Jaleel Scott will pose over that one because he has his team another big first down.
Yeah, and Connie Smith, safety that popped in on that play, you can see he just threads the needle. Look at this throw, puts it in between, knowing the safety's coming over, but puts it in the spot that his receiver, Jaleel Scott, can get that ball and then be able to go down or continue to run if he had that step on him. That's placing ball. That's the accuracy he needed at the beginning of the game.
5 wide receivers, Rogers to throw again, going to the corner, has a man but incomplete, short on the attempt to Anthony Muse.
He was wanting it. He was staring at it a little too much too, so the defense was ready for it. You can see he's kind of like, I wanted that one. Sometimes you can't just follow a big one after a big one. Sometimes you need to take a little bite, swallow, and then go for another big chunk. Or it would have been a perfect situation to hand the ball off to Larry Rose in that type of thing.
Scott leading the receiver corps. 4 grabs, 72 yards. Rogers to throw. Incomplete, just off the hands. Intended for Jaleel Scott. He couldn't hang on. Nick Needham there.
Yeah, that's miscommunication. You can see they're talking about 2 different spots. Scott sat down one spot and Rogers was thrown to a different area, and I think Jaleel was just trying to get someplace before he had the ball. He needed to sit a little bit more outside.
Third down here for the Aggies. They've been strong, 8 for 14. Had a lot of opportunities on third down here tonight. We know the Miners have struggled. 3rd and 10 on the Miner 28. They go to Rose. Leaves one tackler behind, but can't get past that. Nice surge up front. Devin Cockrell, we've called his name a lot tonight, Jay. He's been all over the field.
He's been active all over, and that was just a shoestring tackle. If he does not get Larry Rose there, I think Larry Rose gets the first down and maybe then some. I mean, to come in from the safety spot like he did, flying down there and getting a running back that has just been so elusive in space by the toes, that's a good play.
So they'll go for it on 4th down here, kind of in an in-between spot. And Rogers will look to pass. Fires downfield. Complete. They convert on 4th down and now set up a 1st and goal. Connecting downfield with Isaiah Lottie.
That is a well-designed play because you went to the corner route. This defense was thinking you're trying to get to that spot, find a hole in the middle, and Rogers has been pretty precise outside that early interception where he threw it behind the receiver on the seam route. That's been the only other time, even getting hit. He's put that ball out in front to help his guys catch it down the seam.
Yeah, Rogers taking a bump there at the end of that play. Red zone has been a good spot for the Aggies. Looking to cash in once more, 5 wide. He calls his own number, pushing ahead to the end zone and in. And how fitting that Tyler Rogers tacks on another for the Aggies.
You think about this offense and what they want to do and what they're capable of doing. And it all centers around Larry Rose and Tyler Rogers. And when those two are on and playing well, it's hard for this team to lose. And what we're seeing as this game's progressing is the tenacity. Watch his offensive front. Just put the block on. That's a good job. You think about that. Keith Sullivan goes blowing in there. If he just comes off the block, you might be able to stop it. But that's what happens because they're so young. He's only a freshman.
Let's go,
And this defensive front has had its successes at points, but not on a consistent basis. And we've seen the New Mexico State offensive line really take charge when it's coming down this 4th quarter.
Dylan Brown connects on the point after, but a second look at Rogers. He's shown his abilities passing, but smart guy, as you talked about, just get low, follow one of the big guys in front of you to pay dirt.
And that's all you can do, especially with your size. You don't want to get hurt, but you want to make that play. And so, very good. UTEP right now, they know they have some struggles. They know they're a young team. They know their front's young. I mean, you think about it, they're starting two freshmen and a sophomore on that defensive front. So at some point, this is a similar thing that happened last week against U of A. They were in it in the beginning part of it, but then they started making mistakes as the game progressed. Guys getting out of position, not getting off blocks, and that just happens with growth. New Mexico State was at this point a few years back. And now Coach Martin says something interesting. He goes, before we always had to play freshmen. This is the first year we haven't had to play any true freshmen. That tells you how far your program has come.
Miners will take this out of the end zone to the 20, to the 30, and then taken down there. On the return from Junior, Coach Doug Martin saying it was a complete rebuild. You know, picture stripping down a car and starting over. Only 61 scholarship players. You get 85 at this level of football. So they had to play a ton of true freshmen, even when they didn't want to. Yeah, that helped some guys now have experience, but back then, boy, was it difficult.
Oh, it's difficult, and it's always the old rule of thumb. Do you throw them out there so they can just learn, or do you bring them all slowly? Sometimes you have no choice, but when the fruits of the labor can produce itself 2-3 years down the road, then it was worth it.
Miners back in action on offense. Under 12 to play in this one. Torres, incomplete, looking for Kavika Johnson. He's been quiet.
Dalton Harrington did an excellent job. Now this is, like I said, as a defense, you're able to pin your head back to it. You know they got to move the ball downfield. So what does he do? He goes down, stays in the middle of the field, makes that throw a tougher throw, jumps up to even distract the receiver. That's what you want out of your senior will linebacker.
Mark Torres, the freshman, came on to start the second half, replacing Ryan Metz. He'll throw here. That one, what a grab. Tyler Batson took what looked to be an overthrow and hauled it in.
Yeah, I think that partially happened because might have been DeMarcus Owen maybe. The left corner thought like, oh, wait a minute, there's going to be an interception. So he takes a poor angle, comes in inside the other receiver, gets walled off, and then that's just a great catch by Batson. Just pull that down. Batson has size himself, 6'2", 205.
That's the first completion of the night for Mark Torres. He'll look for another here. Going down the sideline for Batson again, who hauls it in but is out of play.
And you see the frustration. He's like, I have him beat. Get me the ball in play. That ball drifted on Torres. And this is part of it. Mechanics, you got to get stuff worked in. You got to not press, especially when guys are open. But this is what traction does. I mean, getting out to the game, playing, and this is what it does. It builds that.
Well, and Torres, one of those guys you talked about that has grown up with this rivalry. From El Paso, Eastwood High School, he's known the UTEP New Mexico State thing for a long time. He'll throw here. Not sure if that was intended for the man who went after it. Lucero comes up with it momentarily, lost control, but Kavika Johnson was behind that ball.
And we've seen this a few times tonight on both sides of the ball, but more with UTEP sometimes. Two guys in the wrong area and not sure who was supposed to be there or not. But young team, this is what happens when you have young teams.
Miners 2 for 12 on third down. Trailing 41-7 and trying to keep this drive alive here in the fourth. Aggie fans on their feet. Torres to pass. Eludes the pressure. Lets it fly downfield. And intercepted. A big grab for Ron LaForce. Sure that guy shouldn't be a wideout. What a catch going to the ground for LaForce.
LaForce playing free safety, just reads the quarterback Torres and just runs. He knows he's deeper than where the receiver is. The ball is overthrown, and LaForce does a great job. I think last week he had 2 interceptions in the game. I think these guys like to get multiple interceptions, but that is a great play by LaForce, getting that interception, getting the turnover, stopping a drive.
Ron LaForce's third interception of the season. He's the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Week last week. He may have just sealed the deal here tonight. It's the battle of I-10, and most of the cars with Texas license plates have gotten back on that I-10 because of what this man has done. Tyler Rogers, among others, he's put together a show here, passing the football after Larry Rose started her off.
Yeah, and you think about it, the beginning of the game, he was rough, not characteristic, missing a lot of guys, but as this game transpired, he has just picked it up, spreading the ball to multiple guys, but hitting all kind of throws, hitting those seam routes, those post routes, hitting the corner routes, and then finishing off by running it himself. This is one reason why scouts now are looking at him for the next level, because they see the ability. And when he's there and he's on, he is definitely on.
Rob LaForce giving some shout-outs on the sideline. It's a good mood over there if you're part of the New Mexico State Aggies. They keep the ball on the ground. Dante LaViolette coming over for the stop after Rose took the run for a couple.
And I like O.J. Clark there, one of the little guy on the field. He's 5'7", 163 in there mixing it up. I must admit, I did that a little bit myself sometimes, just trying to get a flag, go to a big guy, have him push you and look back at the ref like he just shoved me.
So you were one of those people that would flop on the field after you would get shoved mildly?
Well, technically, I didn't get shoved mildly. They shoved me.
All right, fair enough. You earned it. Strong numbers for Rogers, under 10 minutes to play in the fourth. Here's Rose, turning the corner, splits a couple of tackles. Flag comes in at the end.
Yeah, see, this is what happens. So, O.J. Clark, you see him go straight to the official. So you were John before, so now you end up possibly getting a penalty. Let's see if they call his number. But this is why you don't do what he did.
Personal foul, block below the waist, illegal. Number 2 on the offense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat second down.
See, so now you drew the spotlight to yourself by what you were doing. And you can see now he's saying that you got to know you're the smallest guy. You cannot do that.
Said, hey, ref, look at me.
Yeah.
Official said, we certainly will.
Yeah, and that's what they did. But again, these are the penalties that just can't happen. It just can't happen. Now you're looking at 2nd and 15, 14.
Yeah, they'd gotten away from these for a stretch and had kept adding on unsportsmanlikes after touchdowns. On 2nd and 13, they keep it on the ground with Rose, and you'd expect a lot of this as they look to peel time off the clock here in the fourth.
Yeah, and this is just what it's going to be. Just eat that clock down. Don't snap it till it gets under 10 seconds. Take as much time as you can off. I still think they're going to throw the ball. They won't run it on this one because they like to get a conversion. Every play is something you can work on. So defensively, 3rd and 10, we're working on getting them off on 3rd and 10. Offensively, 3rd and 10, we're working on converting our 3rd and long. So, I mean, there's always something to be worked on.
3rd and 10, and they keep it with a handoff and won't get much there. They go back to Huntley, who returned. He hobbled off earlier, back in the mix.
He has that magic bubble gum or something on the sideline because he comes in, he looks fine. Then when he goes off, he's limping again.
Barnwell on the stop, and 4th down coming. UTEP going to get the football back here, but with the score the way it is, Jay, New Mexico State looking in great shape to equal a feat they haven't done since way back in 2002 when they take out both of their rivals, already with the win over New Mexico, and now on the verge of a win against UTEP. And back in 02, 7-5, bowl eligible, sadly no one called for the Aggies, but that's really the high water mark in recent history for this program.
Yeah, and you know, they've done so far at the beginning of the season all the things that you should do to spark something like that. And so to have that sweep since 2002, this is huge. This is the type of thing that builds programs. And so they're going to go back and say, hey, this is what we did, guys. We got the trophy ourselves.
Aggies will try and nail this one down. Timeout now. Back with more after this. And we're back in Las Cruces. Coach Sean Kugler, the UTEP grad, has to be even more frustrating to be a part of this matchup when it's not going your way. A lot of minor pride on that sideline. Look at the new offensive coordinator, also a former UTEP athlete. So these are folks that take great pride in the program and just been unable to work it out here tonight. And there's a handoff for Joshua Fields, the freshman from El Paso. Louis Faamasino coming over for the stop.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, the youth. I mean, He's a true freshman himself. So they're just a lot of young guys. The only way they're going to get better is coming out here and putting the game plan to fruition. You got to work it, you got to practice it, then you got to produce it.
Quick out from Torres, and that is complete. And Eddie Senegal comes up with the reception. That'll set up the third and short here.
And if you're the New Mexico State defense right now, all they're doing is letting us stay in front of them. Make the play if you can, but just don't let nothing get behind you.
Torres to throw. Moving right. He'll take it himself, slides down, and depending on the spot here, going to be in good shape for a first down as he fell across the 45.
I think they're going to get him short because of his knee.
You called it. His body rolled across the 45, but that was after the knee was down. That's now fourth down, and this is, of course, 4-down territory the rest of the way here. Torres call his own number, pushes ahead, and looks to be in good shape to move the chains with 6:37 and counting.
UTEP did a good job getting up there before New Mexico State could even get set. Half the guys were down, half weren't, took advantage of it, got that conversion.
So 1st and 10 on their own 46. Torres to throw once more. Over the middle, that's complete, but not for much. Ball popped loose there at the end as Junior came up with it.
Tell you what, Shamad Lomax has had himself a game today. I mean,
yes, he has.
He's literally taking these guys wherever they want to go. He is in their hip pocket. He's making those throwing lanes tough.
That's a 3-yard gain on the reception to Junior. Second down. Torres steps through one defender. Now he'll take it himself, sees all kinds of space, still moving down the sideline, and they'll say he stepped out.
Now see, he finally did it, because I was sitting there watching, like, as he's pointing, I'm like, there's nobody in front of you. Now's the time to run. And that's what Metz was doing in that first quarter that was so successful for this UTEP offense as they were moving the ball. You quarterback, you have to understand, when there's one guy in front of you and he's covered by another person, you have nothing but green. Take it, go, get positive yards.
First down after the Torres gain. He'll step through, and he'll take it himself. Sprinting ahead to the 25 and then tripped up there. Jusavia Reese coming over and had me a little nervous there, holding that ball out like a loaf of bread.
Oh,
pulled it down finally and went for it.
Completely. And your running game has been better but still struggling. Use your quarterbacks as well, just like they've been doing. When your quarterback run, it makes a defense have to play you differently.
Flag here before this play gets off.
False start, 18 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
It's the tight end Lucero on the false start.
Because when you have a running quarterback, now all of a sudden I can't be as aggressive. I can't just fly up the field knowing the guy's sitting there in the middle because he can't run. And when you make other defenses have to scheme for that, then that starts to open up other things. But this is the growth process that UTEP is going to have to go through.
Torres in trouble. Rolls right. Throws on the run. That's complete. And out of play. Able to connect with Eddie Senegal.
And that's just what this offense is going to need right now. They're going to need that type of movement out of their quarterbacks. They're going to need them buying time, but more importantly, the receivers have to understand this and help their quarterbacks out by getting in the passing lane so that as they're scrambling, they have targets to throw the ball to.
Yeah, McQuaker on the coverage. And this is all just building for next week and for the rest of the season at this point with UTEP, trailing 41-7. They'll go to Army next week, so it's not going to get markedly easier as they take on the challenge in West Point. Lots of folks jumping there before this one starts. And
False start, offense, number 72, 5-yard penalty, second down.
then conference play kicks in, and they'll take on some of the favorites in Conference USA, Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech. So it is a difficult road ahead here for Coach Kugler and company.
It is. But the plus about playing Army is they're running the ball. So granted, it's the options, a tough thing to work against because not too many teams do it, so it's hard to practice for it. But at least for a team that's struggling, that's an advantage because now you can just dial up a lot of pressure and just work on shutting down that run and forcing them to pass, which would be to your advantage.
Dalton Harrington come over to slow down Torres, who tried to dance free of a couple of tacklers, not to be. Third down and 12. This might be the last crack on offense UTEP gets in this one. Torres. He'll go to the end zone. To the corner, and that's tipped away. Coverage there from who else? Shamad Lomax.
I mean, he's had his work. The 5'10", 200-pound sophomore has kind of made a stake, putting it out there, showing that he has hands, can catch his pace, can chase guys down. He's done a good job tonight. It's a reason this defense is able to play the way it's played. When you have corners and safeties that can play in space, can take things away, that makes a big difference.
So fourth down. Torres. He'll go to the end zone on the other side. Lofts it up and incomplete. Was looking for Tyler Batson into triple coverage. DeMarcus Owen among the Aggies in coverage.
Well, you got to take the shot. You know this team is going to go to your biggest receiver. Tyler Batson, 6'2", 205. See if you can put it out there. But you can see right there, Coach Kugler just very upset about this performance of his guys.
New Mexico State offense coming back on the field, looking to run out the rest of the clock on this victory. 41-7 the lead for New Mexico State, well on their way to going to 2-2 on the year. And for UTEP, on the verge of falling to 0-4. Miners defense trying to stop the run as the Aggies go to Christian Gibson. This is a junior from Dallas, Texas, and now a chance here for some reserves to get on and get some carries. And Gibson, a fun story, you can relate, former defensive back that they turned into a running back here.
You know, so funny, I was a former running back, defensive back in high school, and when I got to college, and I remember the first practice, and I had to go up and block a 250-pound linebacker. I told the coach, I'm going to the other side.
First and last day on the offensive side of the football.
Like, I'm not standing up and letting that man truck me like that.
They go back to Gibson, and he fumbles the ball. Ball's loose, still loose, picked up by the Miners. Trace Mascaro taking it to the house. Touchdown, UTEP.
An unlikely score by Mascaro, scooping that up at the tail end, being opportunistic, just giving this defense something to grab onto. I mean, look at this. They come in, he cuts back. I mentioned before, sometimes guys try to do too much, and that's just a good wrap-up. Hammett right there, the helmet on helmet, that looks like it was either Johnny Jones that might have made that play or Dylan Parsi, but to put the helmet on the ball and knock that out, that's not stopping. You play till the final whistle is blown.
Point after here, and that is all good. Mascaro, the freshman, getting one back here for UTEP. 41-14 New Mexico State in front here, still well on their way to a victory. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule. We talked about some of the challenges on the way here at Army before they then dive into that Conference USA slate where they were picked to finish 6th in the Western Division.
Yeah, and you know, it's tough match. When you look at some of these teams, I mean, UTSA, I believe, knocked off a big school earlier this year. Southern Miss, Louisiana Tech always has a powerful offense. So that's going to be some work for them to get themselves back on track on that tough schedule.
It's been a bit of a slide in recent years for UTEP. They reached the New Mexico Bowl back in 2014, going 7-6, but since then have progressively had less victories, 5-7 in 2015, 4-8 last year, and now on their way to an 0-4 start. But if there is a blessing in disguise, it's the conference slate is still ahead.
Yeah, and anything can happen, but you just got to take it a play at a time. When you have a young team, like we just talked about, Mascaro, I mean, he's a freshman, true freshman. He actually got 2 true freshmen and a sophomore starting up front. So you have to take your lumps, and what better way, I guess, is to do the non-conference and then go with the in-conference and just see what the guys do, because now you have your building blocks, and hopefully as the season progresses, they get better and they get better and they get better, and you can do more. New Mexico State went through a similar situation. I mean, granted, they didn't go to a bowl game before it happened, but they had to play a lot of true freshmen, and it took a few years, and now we're really seeing it pay off.
Yeah, Coach Doug Martin will have this the rest of the way. Arkansas, that'll be a big challenge going to Razorback country, and then they take a look at the Sun Belt slate, and certainly some challenges there. Georgia Southern, always a difficult place to play. As look on the rest of the schedule there heading into December.
Well, and the thing that stands out to me is the 3 road games. Think about it. You got to go Arkansas, and then you got to go back to go to Appalachian State. Then you got to go back to Georgia Southern. It reminds me a lot of years past when Hawaii would have to come and play certain teams. Sometimes they just stayed here for a couple weeks,
sure,
because it was just too much on the travel. But if they can somehow get through that, they'd be in a good spot. Onside
kick attempt, and it is foiled by the return team. Shamon Lomax.
He has hands.
He does.
Now we maybe they stick him at running back. See what he can do there.
So under 2 to play, 4th quarter, and for head coach Doug Martin, this has been a long time coming, getting the win over this UTEP squad. And for Martin, final year of his contract, a lot of uncertainty with this program going forward. They go independent next year. They have a full schedule already released. Martin, is he the coach next year? He's not sure. He came back to Las Cruces after being the offensive coordinator here. Said he kind of likened his role here to ideally what Bill Snyder did at Kansas State. Could he be one of those guys that stayed with the program for the long term, made them into a winner, and when you thought New Mexico State, you at least remembered what he did for the program?
Exactly. And it's one of those situations you have to step back and take a look at what the team is doing. And if you go based upon what he got when he started to what the product looks like now, we talked about it a couple times. This team easily could be 4-0. And you got to think about that. To go into Arizona State and almost have that win, should have had that win, come back on Troy and just mess up at the end. So you're seeing the fruits of the labor. So it's a matter of, do you want to continue with what you started? And I think it's a bonus if you do.
Huntley on the carry. New Mexico State will keep things on the ground. So it remains to be seen here. Some of the local newspapers talking about, could this be a year that New Mexico State is bowl eligible once again? Still a long, long way to go, but right now on the verge of 2-2, they would like their opportunities there.
Right. I mean, this is nice. This is the cherry on top. If the season goes the way you want, you can say we're the rival champions. We beat UTEP, we beat New Mexico, and we went to a bowl game. If you don't end up getting yourself to a bowl game, that might be, then it becomes a little bit frustrating sometimes, because you're like, okay, yeah, we got this, but we still needed this other piece.
Huntley on the carry, and Kaylon Beverly and Chris Barnwell coming over. And a hug for Coach on the sideline.
You got to think about it. It means a lot, too. So since he's been here, he has never won.
There's the Gatorade bucket. He thought he was getting away from that one, but they tracked him down.
I think all coaches know they're not going to get away from it. At some point, it's going to happen. But you got to think. I mean, the labor of dealing with that, losing each time, and how important rivalry games are. To be able to walk out of here and finally get that win, especially for your seniors, your Tyler Rogers types and your Jaleel Scotts, the guys that have been here around, Larry Rose the third, to be able to give these guys and for them to walk out with that final win where they can finally say the monkey's off our back, the 8-year thing's off our back, the 15-year of not, all of that's off the back. Now it's our turn, and to see how far they can take it.
Yeah, just overcoming the intimidation is what the coaches talked about. The psychological, in some ways, intimidation of not being able to get past this UTEP team. That's out the door. They moved to 2-2. They feel like they could be 4-0. They feel like better things are ahead, but they are able to take it to the Miners, hoist the rivalry trophy, and the I-10 battle this year goes to New Mexico State.
Yeah, and well-deserved. A team that has played well. The start of this season, you think about all the things that have transpired in football when you look at all the different upsets and how this game even started. UTEP didn't look, like I said, records don't match much. And when you watch the beginning of the game, UTEP was right there. But we saw New Mexico State's experience. We saw Tyler Rogers stepping up, even though he had probably his worst, his worst game of the season so far in reports of accuracy and whatnot. But to be able to fight back, go get all through that, adversity is how teams are built. And I think New Mexico State, the adversity dealt with the beginning part of this game, if they take that mindset and keep that going throughout that tough stretch, especially going down to Arkansas, if they can go down to Arkansas, take care of business, and actually be in that game up until the end, find a way to win it, you might see the mindset of this team go to a level they've never experienced before.
A lot of potential for this squad in Las Cruces, and they continue to shatter records. First time they've beat New Mexico on the road and El Paso at home since 1976. They take it here 41-14. For Jay Taylor, Greg Meskel saying so long from Las Cruces. It's a big win for New Mexico State. All games airing on the ESPN networks or streaming live on the ESPN app, or to watch this entire game on replay, as well as others on the family of ESPN networks. Log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.